Ice apocalypse. This is how you can stock up on the greatest beauties. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 Exchange for Supplies. Ding Ting Ting could tell that Xialuo seemed to be in a hurry, so she stopped talking nonsense and immediately had people take out all the meteorites, golden eggs, that they had found at base number 1. There were 26 ordinary-sized golden eggs in total, which means they found a total of 26 meteorites. Ding Ting Ting explained to Xialuo, Mr. Li, yesterday our troops were divided into several groups and searched almost most of the entire city. We found so many meteorites in total yesterday. Actually, our people had a smooth start at the beginning, because most meteorites are easy to find. However, as most of the easily discovered meteorites are found, it seems to be more and more difficult for our people to find meteorites in the future. It also takes more time. The reason why we asked you to come here early in the morning is firstly to give you these meteorites that have been found, and secondly to ask you whether we should continue to search within the city, or leave the city to search further away. Of course, if our people want to leave the city and search farther outside the city, we will need Mr. Li to provide us with some more gasoline. Otherwise we are afraid that the remaining fuel in the car will not be enough by then. Xialuo nodded. In fact, Xialuo had already been mentally prepared for what Ding Ting Ting said. After all, there is actually an upper limit to the number of meteorites falling in each city, although those meteorites are relatively large in size, so most of them are relatively easy to find. But there must still be some meteorites that are not easy to find. In addition, Xialuo also knew something that Ding Ting Ting and the others did not know, that is, the meteorites that fell from the sky almost all fell in the city, as if they were artificially dropped. Although there are sporadic meteorites outside the city, the number is very small, so Ding Ting Ting and the others thought that they could easily find 26 meteorites in the city. If they went outside the city, they would definitely find more meteorites. If Xialuo hadn't given them too much gasoline, maybe they would have sent some people to search outside the city yesterday. Xialuo first collected all 26 golden eggs into the system space. Xialuo was quite satisfied with Ding Ting Ting and the others' ability to do things. In addition, the 26 golden eggs harvested this time also show that Xialuo's plan to hire people to search for meteorites was very successful, because at this stage, only Xialuo knows the secret of the meteorite, and no one can compete with him, and only Xialuo knows that these days are the safest. Even if you find some women, you can let them go out to look for meteorites. Therefore, as long as there are many people, most of the meteorites in the entire city can be found by Xialuo in the easiest way. This feeling of making a fortune silently is really refreshing. Ding Ting Ting, let your people not go outside the city to search for meteorites. You can just continue to search inside the city. Try to search carefully in places you have never been to, and you must find all the meteorites in the city. Xialuo dismissed Ding Ting Ting and the others. I want to go out and look for meteorites. Then Xialuo said, this time you found a total of 26 meteorites, which means you will get a total of 2,600 points. Have you decided what materials you want to exchange for? If you've thought about it, I can exchange the supplies for you now. If you haven't thought about what you want to exchange, just wait until I come over next time. Ding Ting Ting quickly said, Mr. Li, we have decided what supplies we want to exchange, and we will exchange them now. Just kidding. From last night to this morning, people at base number 1 have urged her so many times. Everyone is just waiting for Xialuo to come and exchange supplies like they are looking forward to the stars and the moon. Then, Ding Ting Ting quickly told Xialuo the supplies that everyone wanted to exchange, mainly food, medicine, bullets, cigarettes, etc. In Xialuo's redemption list, the price of food is relatively cheap. 1 point can be exchanged for a pound of food. Ding Ting Ting and the others earned 2,600 points yesterday. If all of them were exchanged for food, they could exchange them for a total of 2,600 kilograms of food. There are now more than 50 people in Ding Ting Ting's base number 1. If they exchange all their points for food, each of them can get an average of more than 50 kilograms of food, more than 50 kilograms of grain. Moreover, food that is not contaminated is simply a huge wealth in this doomsday world. If you eat sparingly, 50 kilograms of grain is enough for one person to last for several months. In the past, many women, If a man could give them a pound of food, they could pose with them as they pleased and serve them happily. However, since Xialuo appeared, everything seems to have changed. Even getting food seems to have become very simple. Seeing that Xialuo was really going to exchange supplies for them, everyone in base number 1 was very excited. It seems that Mr. Li did not lie to them. In fact, in the past, most people really wanted to exchange all their points for food, because in the end of the world, food must be one of the most important supplies, but the current no. One base is no longer the way they used to eat from a big pot. The points they earn are allocated to individuals based on their respective contributions. Therefore, the materials that everyone wants to exchange are naturally different. Some want to exchange it all for food, some want to exchange it for medicine, or even cigarettes. You must know that whether it is medicine or cigarettes, Xialuo's prices are relatively expensive. The most common medicine costs 10 points per box, the most common cigarettes cost 30 points per box, and the better cigarettes cost hundreds of points. Don't call Xialuo black-hearted. This is the internal price Xialuo gave them because they were doing things for him. After all, things like cigarettes will be difficult to find in the future, and they will definitely become luxury goods in the future. There is no such luxury, and no one will die, and Xialuo did not force them to exchange it, but if they want to exchange it, it is their freedom. And Xialuo will definitely not stop it. Of course, the men at base number 1 have long been addicted to smoking, so it is impossible for them not to exchange cigarettes, but they didn't dare to redeem any cigarettes. They all joined forces and spent a total of 300 points to redeem 10 boxes of the cheapest cigarettes. Then it is distributed to every man, and it is less than half a pack of cigarettes. By then, they may have to smoke one cigarette several times, but in this case, they are very satisfied if they can get over the craving for cigarettes. Finally, Ding Ting Ting and the others also bought another luxury product, bullets. In addition to providing some free guns and ammunition for the first time, Xialuo lets them use them for self-protection when they go out to look for meteorites, but the people in these bases are not Xialuo's direct subordinates. So Xialuo cannot always provide them with free weapons and ammunition. They also need to use points to buy things like bullets. Moreover, Xialuo will also control the quantity and will not sell too much to them. From the system space, Xialuo took out the food, medicine, cigarettes, and bullets that Ding Ting Ting and the others had already prepared. Then, ignoring the ecstatic crowd, Xialuo left base number 1. Chapter 352 Discovering a Large Survivor Shelter. After Xialuo left base number 1, he went to base number 2 to take a look. Anyway, it didn't take much time to pass through the teleportation array. Xialuo, the person in charge of base number 2, was also very happy after seeing Xialuo. Because Xialuo arrived at their number 2 base late yesterday, they didn't have much time to look for meteorites yesterday. They only found a total of 12 meteorites at the number 2 base yesterday, and then it got dark. Xialuo, the person in charge of base number 2, is older and much calmer in his work. He planned to notify Xialuo to come over after finding more meteorites today, but he didn't expect that Mr. Li would come over by himself. Then Xialuo exchanged 1,200 points for supplies for base number 2. The people at base number 2 chose to exchange the types of supplies, which were actually similar to those at base number 1. In the apocalypse, there are basically only these things that survivors need most. Looking at the 100 jin bags of rice placed on the ground, Xialuo and the others had not seen this kind of white rice for a long time, let alone eaten it. I never thought that those stones falling from the sky could really be exchanged for so many things. In fact, the people in base number 2 are the same as the people in base number 1. Xialuo had previously promised to exchange meteorites for them for a large amount of supplies, although because of Xialuo's mystery, they still believed it in their hearts, but before the materials are actually redeemed, everything is just a pie in the sky. They are still a little worried, fearing that all their efforts will be in vain. You must know that in the apocalypse, everyone is starving most of the time. If you waste your energy, you will be overdrawing your life. But now, the benefits have come to fruition, and they completely believe Xialuo's words. At this moment, they were even more motivated and now wanted to go out looking for meteorites 24 hours a day. In fact, no matter whether they are people in base 1 or base 2, there are naturally smart or thoughtful people. When they saw that Xialuo was willing to exchange so many supplies for the golden eggs in the meteorite, even a fool understood that this golden egg must be very valuable, or very valuable. Many people have even studied it secretly, but since they don't have supernatural talents, They can't research anything at all. Moreover, the person in charge chosen by Xialuo at each base, including each team leader, is a relatively reliable person, or there is a hostage in Xialuo's hands. The team leaders will not care if their subordinates secretly study the secrets of the meteorite, but if someone dares to hide it privately or something else, they will definitely not agree, because if Xialuo knew about it, not only would all of them not be able to exchange for food and supplies, and the first to be punished were the person in charge of the base and the squad leaders, so because of Xialuo's behavior, everyone in the base knew that those meteorites must have secrets, but they can neither study the secrets of those meteorites, nor dare they have any ideas. After finishing the matters at base number 1 and base number 2, Xialuo thought about it, and suddenly teleported back to the sub-territory, and then took the general with him, then teleported back to base number 3. Xialuo continued to drive with Alice, although it took a little time. Xialuo's system space already has 38 more golden eggs, which is a very good harvest, and after the people at base 1 and base 2 get the materials exchanged by Xialuo, they will definitely work harder to look for meteorites today, even if they dig 3 feet into the ground. They will definitely find all the meteorites in the city, but it is a pity that the people at base 1 and base 2 did not find the large meteorite, otherwise Xialuo would have really discovered it. Then there is the newly established number 3 base, which will also be harvested today. After driving for more than 2 hours, at noon, Xialuo and the others entered Shenzhen City. Shenzhen City was an international metropolis before the end of the world, with a large area and a large population, but what Xialuo is most concerned about is naturally whether there will be more meteorites in Shenzhen City. Since Shenzhen City has a large population, there will naturally be many more survivors. After Xialuo's car entered the urban area, he encountered a lot of survivors on the road. Then, all the survivors will have a look of shock on their faces after seeing Xialuo's car. After all, not long after the flood, you can see cars driving on the road. Naturally, everyone will be very surprised. Handsome guy, help me, give me something to eat, I'm willing to give anything. A woman wearing a sexy miniskirt immediately ran to the middle of the road after seeing Xialuo's car, and then shouted loudly while waving her hands. Xialuo ignored it and continued to drive forward. Seeing that Xialuo had no intention of slowing down, the sexy woman blocking the road drove her car directly into him. She dared not stay in the middle of the road anymore, so she quickly dodged to the side of the road in embarrassment. Then the frightened woman could only watch Xialuo's car drive away. The woman looked at Xialuo on the off-road vehicle and immediately gritted her teeth. That man didn't know how to show mercy, right? For such a sexy and beautiful woman like her to ask for help, shouldn't he stop the car like a dog, get out of the car and come over to greet her? In fact, Xialuo had already seen through the drone's field of vision that there was a group of men with weapons ambushing behind the woman blocking the road. This kind of trick of using sexy and beautiful women as bait, and then lurking around with a group of people waiting for the fat sheep to come to your door, this kind of thing is too common in the apocalypse, because there is no order after the end of the world. The survivors will naturally do whatever they want, and no one will care at all. In fact, the woman and her companions just now should be lucky, because Xialuo is in a hurry now and is too lazy to waste time on insignificant people like them. If they had taken the initiative to provoke Xialuo, they would not have been able to escape the fate of being annihilated. Xialuo's car drove in the city for a while. During this period, Xialuo himself discovered a meteorite. Then he and Alice got out of the car, smashed the meteorite open, and took out the golden egg inside the meteorite. In fact, after finding the meteorite, it may take a lot of effort for ordinary survivors to break open the meteorite, but for Xialuo, it is almost a piece of cake. So Xialuo was even thinking that he had reached the last stop in his plan anyway. He won't be in a hurry to go to other cities in the future. How about he and Alice look for the meteorites in Shenzhen City themselves? But soon, Xialuo gave up this idea, knowing that Shenzhen City is so big, it would still take a lot of time and energy for him to drive to every place in the city, and as long as he just takes out some food or medicine, he can find a lot of coolies, so why should he do it himself? Soon, Xialuo discovered a large survivor shelter through a drone. Chapter 353 Happiness Shelter. Happy Sanctuary. Before the end of the world, This place was called Xingfu Community. It was a high-end residential community, especially in an international city like Shenzhen City. The housing prices were sky-high. People who could buy houses in this community were basically wealthy and successful people live a happy life far beyond that of ordinary people. So before the end of the world, this place was called Happy Community, which is indeed very appropriate. And after the apocalypse, the reason why this place is still called the Happy Sanctuary is just because everyone keeps the previous name, or because they missed the previous life. This place now has absolutely nothing to do with happiness. After all, we have experienced several natural disasters and possibly man-made disasters. Many of the survivors who have survived to this day are scarred. Even though the flood is over now, many survivors can't see hope on their faces, and most of them are still numb. Because of the long-term ice disasters and floods, most of the materials in the city were destroyed. Although the flood is over now, it seems that they are still far away from returning to their pre-apocalyptic life. For example, there is still no water, electricity, or network communication in the city, and we don't know when rescue will come. In addition, the houses in the entire city are now filled with silt and moss, and the entire city's cars, daily necessities, food, and other supplies have all become garbage. Now everyone can only look for some supplies and food in these garbage that can continue to sustain their lives, and even if it is garbage, it is still very precious in the eyes of survivors, and many survivors can only fight to rob it in order to survive. In fact, right after the flood, the whole city was in the most chaotic moment, because the vision in the sky at that time made many survivors think that there might be some new disaster, so they were very scared in their hearts. As a result, some thugs who had already gone dark after the apocalypse became even more crazy. They frantically snatched supplies, killed and insulted survivors. The people living in this happy sanctuary have also experienced a dark time. Fortunately, after the flood, there were still many survivors who hoped to return to their pre-apocalyptic life. So with the cooperation of many teams, those crazy thugs were killed, and then everyone jointly established this happy sanctuary. The current happy shelter has a population of almost 1,000 people. This is a relatively large shelter in the apocalypse. The reason why there are so many people is because after the establishment of happy shelter, they widely distributed hero posts to welcome nearby survivors to join their happy shelter. They even shouted a slogan, "As long as you come to the happy shelter, you will be a happy person in the future." As a result, almost all the survivors in the nearby area who had the ability to come to the happy sanctuary came to the happy sanctuary, because in this apocalypse where people cannibalize people, if you don't have strong strength, it will be difficult for you to survive alone. The happy shelter claims that everyone is equal. And it is said that the happy shelter was established by some official people before the end of the world and several large teams. Therefore, everyone is still looking forward to the happy sanctuary. They hope that after coming to the happy sanctuary, they will really not be hurt again. However, when a large number of survivors came to happy shelter, many people discovered that it was indeed safe and stable inside. It's also relatively fair. After all, one of the teams leading the establishment of the happy sanctuary is from the government before the end of the world. They have a certain amount of armed forces. Now they are all looking forward to the end of the apocalypse, so they naturally want this shelter to run well, because as long as this shelter is managed well, if the apocalypse really ends later, then the large number of survivors in this shelter they saved will naturally be their contribution. And even if the apocalypse does not end later, if they want to live well in this apocalypse, want not to be bullied by other thugs, and want not to starve to death, then they must find a way to make themselves stronger, no matter when. Population is the foundation for the development and growth of a power. As for why it is said that inside the happy shelter, it is only relatively fair, that's because Happy Sanctuary is not just a government force. There are several other team forces in Happy Sanctuary. These forces have people, weapons, and some control a large amount of materials. If Happy Sanctuary wants to run stably, the official turns a blind eye to some things. For example, for all survivors who come to the Happy Shelter, the Happy Shelter will provide a free meal of food so that every survivor can recover some physical strength, but free food cannot always be available. If they want to continue to get food, they need to earn it themselves. As for how to earn food, it depends on each survivor's own ability and ability. Some physically strong men can join the official exploration team of Happy Sanctuary and be responsible for searching for food and supplies outside. Although as their territory expands and they explore farther and farther away, they may sometimes encounter dangers, but these men's lives will be relatively easy. There are also some survivors, such as relatively beautiful women. If they are spotted by some big shots, they can become their playthings and live a good life. If you are not attracted by the big shots, you can also work in the red light district of the shelter and vent your physical desires for the men who come back from their adventures at night, and you can barely survive. As for the remaining people, Happiness Shelter doesn't have that much work for them to do. So they can only rely on their own abilities and settle for their own destiny, whether they go out to pick up garbage by themselves, or beg in a shelter, or they sell their wives and daughters. In short, they need to survive on their own. What Happiness Asylum can guarantee is so-called fairness. They promise that they will not force you to do anything, such as joining the exploration team, selling your body, or selling your wife. But if a woman voluntarily sells her body, or someone is willing to sell his wife or daughter, that's everyone's own business, and the shelter has no right to control it. After all, you can't let others live. And what Xialuo discovered through the drone was the happy shelter. Xialuo did not expect that so many people would gather here shortly after the flood, forming such a large shelter. But in Xialuo's opinion, it's better to have more people. After all, Shenzhen City is still very big, and for ordinary survivors, today is the only day they can safely move around outside. So if Xialuo wants to search the entire city today, he must have more manpower. Chapter 354 Forced Away. When Xialuo's off-road vehicle appeared at the happy shelter, the men on duty at the front entrance of the happy shelter were all stunned. What's going on? Why did a car suddenly appear? In fact, since the floods ended, the people at their shelter have also wanted to get some cars to drive, so that they can go further to search for supplies, and they can be safer when they go out. But nowadays, where are there still intact cars, and where can we easily get gasoline? Under the current circumstances, the only means of transportation that can be used in the entire city may be bicycles. Whoever drives a car at this time is definitely the most handsome guy in the city. What's more, the off-road vehicle driven by Xialuo is still so powerful and domineering, it's hard not to attract people's attention. Xialuo drove the off-road vehicle directly to the gate of the community, and then saw that the men on duty at the gate were a little dumbfounded and had no intention of moving over the door railing. Dip, dip, Xialuo honked the horn several times, which naturally signaled them to open the railing quickly. Damn it, you idiot, why are you honking the horn? Now you still think that you can drive a car? The sound of Xialuo's trumpet made the guards on duty at the door recover from their shock. However, immediately a tall man looked at Xialuo on the off-road vehicle and was very unhappy. Then the tall man raised the baton in his hand, as if he was going to teach Xialuo how to behave. The reason why the tall man behaved like this was not only because Xialuo's behavior of honking the horn made him feel very unhappy, but also because Xialuo could still drive a car, and there was actually an extremely beautiful and gigantic foreigner sitting in the car. Little girl. This irritated him even more. In fact, the tall man was the security guard of this community before the apocalypse. He watched the owners drive luxury cars and bring sexy beauties into the community every day. Every time, he would nod and bend down to open the door for the owners, with a look on his face and a had to smile. But in the heart of the tall man, he's extremely envious and jealous every time. And after the end of the world, those of them who guard the gate of the sanctuary are no longer the watchdogs that others saw before the end of the world. The current situation is just the opposite. The tall men have the highest status in the happiness shelter, and they are the core members of the shelter. Whether they are survivors in the shelter, people who come to their shelter from the outside, they need to act based on their faces, otherwise they have the right not to enter the shelter. Now, it's not like they look at other people's faces. In the post-apocalyptic world, the person with power is the uncle. Their doorman is also an uncle. Bah, the gatekeeper is a guard, so Xialuo honked at them directly, treating them like watchdogs. In addition, Xialuo in the car was actually living so comfortably in the apocalypse. Not at all as miserable as the other survivors who came to seek refuge. This made the tall man lose any sense of superiority, and he felt very unhappy. But just when the tall man wanted to act recklessly, an older man with a crew cut next to him quickly stopped him. Liu. Captain, why are you stopping me? Didn't you say that anyone who wants to join our shelter must be honest and obedient? If there is a thorn in the side, then beat them until they obey. The flat-headed man's surname is Liu, and he is the captain in charge of their gate. Captain Liu quickly whispered in the tall man's ear, "Are you stupid? The higher-ups have made rules now. Everything in the shelter must be done according to the rules. We can no longer beat and scold the survivors who come to seek refuge as we did before. If you hit someone directly at the gate now, everyone will be watching, and the impact will definitely be bad. If it gets too big, The higher-ups will definitely punish you, and even I might be implicated. Besides, if someone else is still in the car, go and find trouble. If someone tries hard not to enter our shelter, and then directly hits you with his car and leaves, then even if you want to take revenge, you will be no one can be found. When the tall man heard this, he immediately felt that what his captain said made sense, and quickly said, "Captain Liu, what do you think we should do, Captain?" Liu smiled. "Old rules. Naturally we should be like other survivors first. Let's have a better attitude and let them hand over some oil and water first, then let them in. And as long as their cars and people enter our shelter well, wouldn't it be easy to deal with them in the future?" The tall man chuckled. "Liu, Captain, you are still taller." The tall man was about to compliment Captain Liu, but before he could finish his words, just listen to a bang sound. It turned out that Xialuo saw them muttering and chattering beside them for a long time, and had no intention of coming over and moving the railing, so Xialuo started the car directly, then accelerated and knocked the railing away. Anyway, there won't be any vehicles coming to this shelter in the future, so if there's anything to stop them, Xialuo will just let them go. The loud sound and the broken railing startled the guards on duty at the door. However, when they saw the off-road vehicle driving directly into the community in a defiant manner, the faces of the guards at the door became gloomy. It's so arrogant. After the end of the world, they have actually seen many arrogant or vicious thugs, but the reason why those thugs dare to be arrogant and domineering is basically when they have an advantage. So they dare to be arrogant. If those thugs were allowed to come to their happy sanctuary alone, who of them would dare to try so arrogantly? Because their shelter has a population of thousands, including hundreds of young and strong men. Moreover, they still have guns in their shelter. In this nearby area, who dares to provoke their shelter now? But I didn't expect that I would actually see such an arrogant person today. He must pay the price for his actions. No one can protect him. Thinking of this, Captain Liu immediately took out the walkie-talkie on his waist. "Call Captain, I am Xiao Liu on duty at the main gate. Someone drove into our shelter just now. This person is a very dangerous person. He may hurt others after entering our shelter." Received. As long as his car drives into our shelter, he won't be able to overturn any waves, and he won't be able to escape. You continue to guard the door, and then immediately block the door with something. Don't let that car. When the car arrives, turn around and run away. Received. Guaranteed to complete the task, Captain. Liu quickly replied on the intercom. Then Captain Liu ordered the guards at the gate to quickly move things to block the gate. The tall man smiled and said, "Captain Liu, you see that the car broke into our place just now. If the people in that car cause any trouble in the shelter, we will definitely not be able to escape responsible. So why don't I take my two brothers and chase him in now to have a look? In this way, we are also participating in the arrest, team." Liu smiled and scolded, "You are just a little bit petty, and you still want to deal with that guy? But it's up to you. You can take someone over to have a look." Chapter 355. General, are you polite? Li Xiaoluo sighed. After Li Xiaoluo's car drove directly into this happy shelter, he drove to the busiest place in this shelter. This is a small square in the community, with many shops around it, but the signs on these shops now are different from those before the apocalypse. They are no longer food stores, clothing stores, etc. Basically, they all have signs like Resident of the God of War, Official Office of Happiness Sanctuary, and the like, and they are also handwritten signs, which give off a simple atmosphere at first glance. Then in this small square, hundreds of people gathered together. These people are basically refugees without formal jobs in this happy shelter. They wait here every day just to see if there are any jobs in the shelter that need to recruit people, or they just lie on the ground begging or waiting for relief. It's not that they are lazy, or they don't dare to go out to look for food. It's that basically all the food that can be found in the nearby area has been looted by the official people of the happiness shelter. There is no food to be found in this area, and if you want to find food, you have to go further. But going further away will not only waste a lot of time and energy, but you may also encounter a team of doomsday thugs at any time. It is said that the gangs of thugs outside are becoming more and more brutal in order to snatch food and territory. After all, until the end of the world is over, or until new food sources are found, there are only so many supplies and foods in each city, and you can only survive by grabbing them. It is even said that some groups of thugs did not want to eat food contaminated by water, so they began to arrest survivors in large numbers. Therefore, the situation outside makes the ordinary survivors in the happy sanctuary extremely frightened when they hear it. They don't want to go too far to die, let alone become someone else's food after they die. Therefore, There are many ordinary survivors in the happy shelter who have no strength. They would rather become refugees and live without dignity in the shelter. Fortunately, Happiness Shelter not only has official armed forces, but also many private power teams, who go out to look for food every day. If the team that goes out is lucky and finds a lot of food, everyone in the shelter will get a little bit. In fact, before Xialuo broke into Happy Asylum, a lively thing was happening in the square of Happy Asylum. The Wild Wolf Group is one of the top 3 private forces in Happy Sanctuary. When the people went out to search for supplies today, they unexpectedly found a lot of food in cans in a factory. Although most of the food has been contaminated and spoiled, there is still some food that is relatively intact. This is definitely a bumper harvest for them, and even the spoiled food, as long as it is cooked, is still edible to the lowest level people in the shelter. So after the members of the Wild Wolf Group brought back a large amount of food, the leader of the Wild Wolf Group personally threw food to the refugees in the shelter in the small square of the shelter. In fact, in the Happy Shelter, no matter which force goes outside to find a lot of food, they will kindly help the refugees in the shelter. First of all, this is a rule set by all the private forces of Happy Asylum and the official government after consultation, because in this way, at least some refugees can see hope of living. The refugees will not cause trouble. And they can also have a good reputation. Secondly, they can also find a lot of fun when rescuing those refugees. For example, Yi Lang, the leader of the Wild Wolf Group, likes to throw food on the ground for the refugees to fight for every time he helps refugees. Watching those refugees fight for a bit of spoiled food like dogs, or even fight, can greatly satisfy the vanity of wild wolves. Even every time the wild wolves rescue refugees, several of those refugees will die. Either they were beaten to death for grabbing food, or they were trampled to death because they were crowding each other. In fact, the officials of Happy Sanctuary also talked to Wild Wolf, hoping that he would change the way he rescues refugees, so as not to kill people every time, which would also be bad for the reputation of their Wild Wolf Group. But Yi Lang smiled and said that he liked this method. It was those refugees who were cheap, so he couldn't be blamed. Today, the Wild Wolf and his brothers had another bumper harvest, so he planned to follow the old way and let himself be a god again, while enjoying the scene of those refugees eating like dogs just for a bite. Then he planned to play cards with his brothers in the afternoon and then go to the red light district to rescue the busted beauties there. Yi Lang feels that everything in his life in the apocalypse is so beautiful. However, just as the wild wolf was about to throw some of the spoiled food on the ground, let the refugees fight for it suddenly. All the refugees looked behind the wild wolf in fear. It's like seeing a ghost in broad daylight. The wild wolf was very dissatisfied with the expressions of these refugees. Every time he rescued the refugees in the past, no one dared to disturb them. Who doesn't have a good eye this time? But before the wild wolf looked back, the boy next to him had already said in horror, "Brother Wolf, look, someone is driving." "What? Who is having so much fun, driving in broad daylight? Have you taken off all your clothes?" "That? Little brother." And when the wild wolf turned his head and saw the off-road vehicle driven by Xialuo, he was also stunned. Which team found a car that still ran and was brand new? At this moment, Wild Wolf felt that his harvest today was no longer good. If he could have such a domineering car, he would definitely be the most handsome boy in Happy Asylum. In the Wild Wolf's mind, this car must have been found by some team from their happy shelter. They never thought that foreign survivors would break into their shelter, until the moment the car door opens. Charlotte Lee got out of the car with Alice and a dog. Suddenly, everyone was shocked again. What is the situation? The people in the car are not people from their shelter at all, and this combination is really eye-catching. A handsome Chinese guy. This is not what Xialuo said himself. His women all say he's handsome. A tall and voluptuous foreign girl. Most importantly, there's a big dog. Everyone at the scene, except for keeping their eyes on Alice for a few seconds longer, actually had more eyes on the dog. At this time, there was only one thought in their minds. Dog meat hot pot is really delicious. Looking at everyone's eyes, the general asked, "Are you polite?" Chapter 356. Why don't you say that we need your consent to live? Brother and Beauty, please introduce yourself first. I am the leader of the Wild Wolf Group of Happy Sanctuary. You can call me the leader of the Wild Wolf Group. Are you new to our happy shelter? Are you planning to join our shelter? If this is the case, you have just arrived and you are definitely not familiar with our sanctuary. I think you can consider joining our Wild Wolf Group first. Wild Wolf was also shocked by the combination of Li Xiaoluo and the others, but when he came to his senses, he immediately rolled his eyes and had a very good idea. In fact, under normal circumstances, all new survivors who join the Happy Shelter will undergo a simple interrogation, and some special talents will be officially recruited by the shelter right at the gate. But I don't know what happened today. The shelter officials didn't even recruit new people with vehicles like this. However, after thinking about it for a moment, Wild Wolf realized that it was not impossible. After all, if you are an ordinary survivor, you will naturally want to be officially recruited, but after the end of the world, some people who are capable or accustomed to freedom do not want to join the official team. The reason why their Happy Sanctuary has a lot of private power is actually for this reason. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo from Yelenju must not be able to stand the official rules, so he was not recruited. Then he will naturally have the opportunity to recruit Li Xiaoluo and Alice, and as long as Li Charlotte and Alice join their Wild Wolf group, then Li Charlotte's woman and the big black dog will naturally become the property of their Wild Wolf group. The more the Wild Wolf thinks about it, the more beautiful it becomes. It's a pity that the Wild Wolf has a wonderful idea. But Li Xiaoluo is not an ordinary survivor who comes to seek refuge in this shelter. Li Xiaoluo glanced at the Wild Wolf casually and said, "Join your team. I won't consider this. However, if you want to do things for me, I can consider giving you a chance." Hiss. Li Xiaoluo's words immediately made all the refugees around him gasp. They have never seen a newcomer to the shelter be so arrogant. Didn't he see the group of men following the Wild Wolf? "Brother, although you may be very powerful, it's useless to fight alone in our Happy Sanctuary. I cherish talents, so I don't care about your arrogance this time, but I hope you can think clearly before answering I." After Yi Lang said these words, he directly winked at his men. Immediately, the 20 or so men around the Wild Wolf immediately surrounded Li Xiaoluo and Alice, and then looked at Li Xiaoluo and the others with fierce eyes. It seems that if Li Xiaoluo dares to say no, they will deal with Li Xiaoluo severely. However, there are actually rules in the Happy Shelter, that is, fights and the like are not allowed. If anyone has any grudges, they can go outside the shelter to resolve them. As long as you leave the shelter, even if you kill someone, the shelter will not meddle in your own business, but if you cause trouble in the shelter, the punishment will be very serious. So the Wild Wolf asked his men to stare at Li Xiaoluo fiercely. In fact, he just wanted to put pressure on Li Xiaoluo and the others, but he didn't really want to take action. This kind of thing is actually done by Wild Wolves time and time again. After the apocalypse, many survivors will basically give in to them immediately if they encounter them in large numbers. Of course, if Li Xiaoluo continues to be ignorant, the Wild Wolf will not really break the rules of Happy Sanctuary and beat Li Xiaoluo, because their Wild Wolf group will have to hang out in this shelter from now on. They must abide by the rules. But if Li Xiaoluo doesn't know what's right, they can't really beat Li Xiaoluo, but they can beat Li Xiaoluo's dog. The rules in the Happy Shelter are that survivors are not allowed to fight among themselves, but they don't say they can't fight with dogs. If Li Xiaoluo doesn't know what's right, the Wild Wolf will directly say that Li Xiaoluo's dog is too fierce and wants to bite him, so he couldn't hold back and let his men beat the big dog to death. Is this completely reasonable? At that time, it would be more reasonable for the dog's body to be used to make up for the fright he suffered. Right, fresh meat, and it's also high-quality dog meat. Even though Wild Wolf is the leader, he hasn't eaten it in a long time. However, the Wild Wolf did not notice that when his men surrounded Li Xiaoluo and Alice, the general standing at Li Xiaoluo's feet had a fierce look in his eyes, as if he would rush forward and tear the enemy into pieces as long as Li Xiaoluo gave the order. But before Li Xiaoluo could give the order, suddenly a group of men in uniforms walked over quickly from a distance. Seeing the group of people approaching, the Wild Wolf's face suddenly showed a trace of ugliness, because that group of people is the escort team of Happy Sanctuary, belonging to the official force of the Sanctuary, and is naturally stronger than his team. Damn it, what kind of idiot went to tip off the news? How did he alert the people in the escort team? Once these people come, the Wild Wolf will naturally not be able to let his men do anything to Li Xiaoluo and his dog, and the dog meat hot pot is gone too. Captain, this is the man who tried to hit someone with his car, and also broke into the guard post and forced his way into our shelter. The tall man at the front of the escort was the tall man on duty at the gate. He originally wanted to catch up with Li Xiaoluo's car with 2 people, and then give Li Xiaoluo a good beating first. However, he certainly couldn't walk as fast as Li Xiaoluo drove, so he came a little late, and when he came over, he happened to meet the large army that had received the news and rushed over. In this way, it is natural that the tall man does not have the final say on how to deal with Xialuo. After all, he is just a soldier in the escort team. You are the ones who violently broke into our shelter? Should you give me an explanation? The captain of the Happiness Shelter escort team is a strong man named Hu Yong. He was also shocked by Xialuo's combination at this time: one man, one woman, one car and one dog. It seems like they are not trying to survive in the apocalypse, but traveling. There are so many people who come to their shelter, but I have never seen anyone like Xialuo. So Hu Yong was still very angry just now, but after seeing Xialuo, Hu Yong didn't dare to be too tough. He was afraid that there might be a more powerful force behind Xialuo. Xialuo looked at Hu Yong and said calmly, "What explanation do I need to give you? This community belongs to your family." Hu Yong said seriously, "The territory of this community, and even the area around here, is the territory of our happy sanctuary. If you forcefully break into our sanctuary without our consent, you have invaded our sanctuary. You still have this attitude now, so do you really want to cause trouble?" Xialuo glanced at him, shook his head with a smile and said, "I didn't want to make trouble. I think you are making trouble, because I have always regarded the entire Shenzhen city as my territory. You didn't get my consent. Who can let you build a shelter on my land?" Hu Yong was stunned. He didn't expect Xialuo to be so loud and shameless. "Is the entire Shenzhen city your territory? We build a shelter here. Do we still need your permission? Why don't you say that we need your consent to live?" Chapter 357, Letting the Dogs Out. Of course, in fact, Xialuo just said it casually. With Xialuo's current ability, he wants to control the entire Shenzhen market. As long as he is willing to spend some time, he can really do it, but Xialuo won't do that because he doesn't like it at all. In his opinion, this kind of occupation of land is completely thankless, because in the apocalypse all communication equipment fails and traffic is paralyzed. The larger the territory, the more difficult it will be to manage. Moreover, the territory is too big and cannot bring any benefit to Xialuo at all, so it is completely worth the loss. In addition, in fact, when Xialuo entered this happy shelter this time, he could enter as an ordinary survivor in a relatively low-key manner, and then recruit some people to do things for him in this shelter, instead of being so high-profile now, and even having armed conflicts with the people in this shelter. But there are two main reasons why Xialuo is so straightforward. First of all, Xialuo's time is precious now and he doesn't have time to follow the procedures of this shelter slowly. Secondly, even when he was at the gate, the attitude of the guards at the gate made Xialuo a little unhappy. After all, Xialuo has been in a high position in Taoyuan territory since the end of the world, so he naturally has some thinking of a superior person. And he will not let himself swallow his anger. It can be said that no one in this world can make him like this. And after Xialuo said something to Hu Yong, he had no time to talk nonsense to him anymore. Xialuo said directly, "Okay, since you didn't say too much, and it's not easy for you to survive until now, I won't argue with you, and I don't want any conflict. My time is precious, so I will just tell you the purpose of my coming here. This time I came to this shelter just to recruit some survivors with food to work for me. I hope you won't stop me." Hu Yong had a sullen face. He did not respond to Xialuo immediately. He just looked at Xialuo with sharp eyes, because he wanted to know where did Xialuo's arrogance come from. It's a pity that Hu Yong didn't see the reason after watching it for a long time. Haha, I'm laughing so hard, I turn out to be a fool. Before Hu Yong could speak, the wild wolf beside him suddenly laughed. Originally, the wild wolves thought that Hu Yong brought the people from the shelter guard here to prevent his wild wolf group from bullying the newcomers, but who would have thought that they would also come to trouble Xialuo? And at this time, Xialuo is still making nonsense here. The wild wolf no longer knows how to describe this guy. What is he if he's not stupid? However, the wild wolf doesn't want to give up this piece of fat. The wild wolf first glanced at Xialuo coldly, and then said to Hu Yong, "Captain Hu, why are you talking so much nonsense to someone like this who wants to run wild in our shelter?" "Captain Hu, if you don't want to take action, how about I do it for you? I just had some grudges to resolve with him." After hearing what Yu Lang said, Hu Yong was also stunned. Has it only been a few minutes since he received the report from the gate just now? This man who broke into their shelter caused trouble in their shelter again. Is he a troublemaker? However, Hu Yong was a little hesitant about Wild Wolf's proposal. If it was normal, he would definitely not hesitate. He would directly ask the guards to arrest Xialuo and deal with it. They will definitely not leave it up to the wild wolves. After all, any disputes in the shelter fall under the jurisdiction of their escort team. This is their right, but now, the soldier's intuition tells Hu Yuang that Xialuo may be a very dangerous person, so, let the wild wolf people test the water first. Xialuo did not wait for Hu Yuang to speak, glanced at the wild wolf, and said coldly, "Okay, since you are buzzing like a fly and seeking death, then I will help you." Xialuo knew that in this apocalyptic world, the strong would be respected. No matter how much he said, if he didn't show some strength, it would be almost impossible to do things with peace of mind. So since someone has been looking for death, Xialuo will help him. It's a simple matter, it won't take more than a few minutes, and the wild wolf was compared to a fly by Xialuo, which really made him angry to death. Where has he ever been insulted like this, Captain? Who? No one can protect him today. I said so. If anyone dares to stop me, then I will risk my life and let's do it together. The wild wolf gritted his teeth and said something to Hu Yuang, which was regarded as a greeting to Hu Yuang. Then the wild wolf didn't wait for Hu Yuang to answer. He waved directly to his thugs. "Come on, catch this guy and his woman. Remember, I want to live. By the way, that dog doesn't care whether he lives or lives." "Yes, leader." The men of the wild wolf group responded excitedly. Then with elude smiles on their faces, they all surrounded Li Charlotte and Alice. To them, catching Xialuo and the two of them is a piece of cake. In fact, they have long been very dissatisfied with Xialuo's arrogance. The members of their wild wolf group have always bullied others in this shelter. How have they ever been bullied like this? If we don't regain our position, how will the wild wolf group continue to function in the future? In addition, catching Xialuo and the two will not only punish Xialuo severely, but there will also be a top-notch foreign girl next to Xialuo. To be honest, most of them were ordinary people before the end of the world, and some of them had never even seen a foreign girl, let alone such a beautiful ocean horse. So when arresting Xialuo and the other two, they accidentally had some physical contact with that top-notch ocean horse. Is this very reasonable? Even if they can get that big Yangma into the camp of their wild wolf group, then they might be able to have a taste of it. Hu Yuang did not stop the wild wolf's behavior. The main reason was that Xialuo was too arrogant and violated the rules of their shelter, so he must be taught a lesson. However, Hu Yuang still whispered to the wild wolf, "Commander of the wild wolf, don't use your gun, because once the gunshot is fired, the entire shelter can hear it, and the matter will become even bigger." Haha, Captain Hu, don't worry. Why do you need to use guns to deal with these two people? You think too highly of them, don't you? My bullets are very precious, I'm not willing to waste them on them. In the wild wolf's heart, Xialuo, a man and a woman, were not considered at all. No, there was also a dog, but in his eyes, that dog is just a hot pot meal. However, this dog that the wild wolves look down on will soon become their nightmare. Xialuo is too lazy to take action himself to deal with these little minions. "General, go." At Xialuo's order, the general's eyes burst out with a fierce light, and then he rushed towards the wild wolf's men very quickly. After getting the crystal, Xialuo naturally awakened the general's superpowers. So now, although the general still looks like a dog, he is actually, well, he is still a dog. It's just that the general has not only awakened his supernatural powers, but his intelligence has also improved a lot, and he can fully understand human speech. Silly dog, you are looking for death. Seeing that the general's dog dared to attack them, the faces of the wild wolf group suddenly showed cruel smiles, and then they waved the machetes in their hands and slashed at the general. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358: A Dog Destroys a Team. In the post-apocalyptic world, they have killed countless people, but are they still afraid of killing a dog? Not only the group leader saw this dog as a hot pot meal, they were also greedy. This is fresh meat. They haven't eaten fresh meat in an unknown amount of time, and now that human survivors are living such a difficult life, why is a dog still alive? The man who was slashing at the general with a machete saw that his knife was about to hit the general. The man's face suddenly showed joy. You deserve your luck. If this stupid dog is killed by himself, then when the time comes to divide the dog meat, He will definitely be able to eat a few more pieces of meat. However, the smile on the man's face did not last for a few seconds. A clang. The man's machete did hit the dog as expected. However, there was no scene of blood splattering. He only felt as if his knife had hit a steel plate. The man suddenly looked extremely shocked. This is impossible. It's unscientific. He knows his knife best, and he polishes it very sharply. However, something happened that made the man even more frightened. Not only was the general who was slashed fine, but he showed a contemptuous look towards the man. It seems to be saying, "That's it. Are you tickling the old dog?" Is this an expression that can appear on a dog's face? The man felt like he had really seen a ghost, but before the man could think about it, the general bit him hard on the calf. Click. The man's calves were like popcorn, and the general easily bit off the bones with one bite. A scream resounded throughout the sky. This scene made everyone at the scene dumbfounded. Nothing happened to him when he was hit by a knife. He was completely unscathed, but with just one bite, a person's leg was bitten off. What kind of dog is this? Only Xialuo looked calm, because he naturally knew how powerful the general was. After the general awakens his superpower, he has a body of iron and bronze, which is somewhat similar to the invulnerability of the metal superpower, and after Xialuo upgraded its superpower to level 2, the bite force of its teeth was so amazing that it could bite even a steel pipe directly. The Dog King who dominated the apocalypse in his previous life did not earn his reputation in vain. The general bit off the man's calf and then immediately set his sights on the next target without caring about his life or death. You idiot, don't come over. The man who was targeted by the general immediately shivered with fear and waved the axe in his hand desperately at the general. However, the result was the same. His axe hit the general, but it could not break the general's defense at all. Instead, the general jumped up and bit his hand. Click. The man's hands became twisted directly. Another burst of screams sounded. Then the general rushed into the group of men from the Wild Wolf Regiment, one by one. The men from the Wild Wolf Regiment kept screaming. They either had their hands or feet broken. At first, the members of the Wild Wolf group were all people who had fought in the apocalypse, so they were not frightened by the general's perverted abilities. They have a large number of people. Even if this dog can fight, no, even if it can bite, there are so many of them and they can't take care of a dog. But as the Wild Wolf group suffered more and more casualties, more importantly, no matter whether they chopped with knives, chopped with axes, or hit with steel pipes, they could not cause any harm to the dog at all, and when the dog finds their person, they will cripple him with just one bite. How to fight this? The mentality of the people in the Wild Wolf group has completely collapsed. Monster, it's a monster. In just 2 or 3 minutes, more than a dozen disabled men were lying on the ground. The remaining people didn't care about arresting Xialuo. They turned around and ran away with frightened faces. The general did not chase those who escaped, nor did he continue to bite those on the ground who kept screaming. After all, even if the general has awakened his superpower, his genes are still that of a dog, and he will not eat human flesh. It's just that it's smarter and more protective of its master. In its world, there are only the master and the people recognized by the master. Now these people want to hurt its owner, so it will naturally bite them. Then, the general looked at the leader of the Wild Wolf Regiment. It was this guy who wanted to deal with his master just now. If it were in the past, the general would definitely not be so smart and know who is behind the scenes. In the past, only if someone took the initiative to attack Xialuo, the general would know who was hostile to Xialuo, and only then would it know to protect the master, and under the current circumstances, it will definitely continue to chase and bite those who escape. But now, the general is smarter. It knows who to bite the most. The Wild Wolf was still in shock. He never thought that this would be the case. His Wild Wolf group, the team he put in so much effort to build, was almost destroyed by the group like this, and it was still by a dog. Is there anything more outrageous than this? Is there anything more humiliating than this? You know, the members of his Wild Wolf group have always been more selective than indiscriminate, and every one of them is a carefully selected expert. However, the entire team was pressed to the ground and rubbed by a dog. However, some wild wolves who could not accept the reality suddenly saw the dog walking towards him step by step, and the dog's eyes looking at him were full of murderous intent, stared by the general's fierce gaze. The wild wolf finally came to his senses. He felt a chill in his heart. He no longer had the time to care about how weird all of this was. He just wants to save his life now. He doesn't want to become a cripple or a corpse. Wolf, the general roared, and then quickly rushed towards the wild wolf. The wild wolf stabilized his mind, took out the pistol directly from his body, pointed it at the general who was rushing towards him, and pulled the trigger. Bang! Bang! Because of the fear in his heart, the wild wolf no longer cares about saving bullets. He shot directly at the general until the bullets in the pistol were emptied. However, when the gunfire stopped, the general had already ran to the wild wolf. Then click, the wild wolf felt a sharp pain, and his leg was bitten off by the general. The incomparable pain in his body made the wild wolf feel like he was falling into the abyss. How so? The wild wolf saw clearly just now. Although he didn't know how many shots he had just shot at the dog, he definitely had a few shots. So, this dog can't even be killed with a gun. At this moment, the wild wolf was really desperate. Facing such an unreasonable opponent, he was really just like his men, except for fear. Only deep powerlessness remained, because they have used all the means at their disposal, but they can't kill it. What else can they do? But this was the last thought of the wild wolf. There was another click, and the general bit the wild wolf's neck directly. Chapter 359. They also want to be Xialuo's dog. The scene was completely silent. No one dared to express their anger, and all looked at the big black dog in horror. The leader of the wild wolf group is dead, except for some members of the wild wolf group. Most of them were lying on the ground screaming and wailing. Seeing that the people who were unkind to his master were almost dealt with, the general walked slowly towards Xialuo. But when the general passed by Hu Yuang's group of escorts, his eyes stayed on them for a while. But just at this moment, Hu Yuang and the others were so frightened that they almost lost their souls. They were really afraid that the dog would go on a killing spree, because if they really want to take action, they don't even have the courage to resist. After all, they have no way to deal with an invulnerable dog. Fortunately, the general just glanced at Hu Yuang and the others casually, and then continued back to Xialuo. When facing Xialuo, the murderous aura on the general's body disappeared. The dog's face immediately put on a flattering smile, and its tail also wagged rapidly, a proper licking dog. The views of everyone nearby were shattered. Is this still the murderous dog just now? Xialuo thought, and a dog bone weighing 2 or 3 kilograms appeared in his hand. Leader, you performed well just now. Let me reward you with some snacks first. After saying that, Xialuo threw the big bone to the general. The general jumped up and caught the big bone accurately. The dog's face was full of joy, because this bone is not all bones. There is a lot of meat on it. These big bones with meat are his favorite. In fact, it wasn't just the general who liked it. The survivors around him saw the bone in the general's mouth and the meat on the bone. They all wanted to ask Xialuo if he still lacked dogs. They also want to be Xialuo's dog. This is not an exaggeration. A fleshy bone can make someone like this. As for the people in Hu Yuang's escort team, they might not sell their souls just for some meat, but for most of the refugees in this shelter, even eating some spoiled food every day is a luxury. If Xialuo could give them fresh meat to eat, not to mention being a dog, he would just let them act out all the animals. They are willing to. After rewarding the general, Xialuo looked at Hu Yuang. Now I want to recruit some people here to do something for me. Do you have any objections? No, you are free. If there's anything you need our help with, you can just ask. Hu Yuang was looked at by Xialuo and swallowed hard. I was afraid that if I didn't pay attention, I would anger Xialuo. He still has a family to take care of, and he doesn't want to follow in the footsteps of that wild wolf. Xialuo waved his hand to Hu Yuang. Okay, I don't need you for the time being. Just watch from the sidelines. If I need you, I will call you. Xialuo did not want to ask Hu Yuang to help recruit people, nor even wanted to recruit people like Hu Yuang and others from the escort team, because there are many survivors in this shelter, and many of them are refugees at the lowest level. Compared to Hu Yuang and others, Xialuo prefers to recruit those refugees to do things for him, because relatively speaking, for the same remuneration, those refugees who have nothing will definitely be more loyal, and they will not have any small thoughts that they shouldn't have. The most important thing is that they will be more obedient. After all, after the end of the world, these low-level refugees have become accustomed to being obedient. As long as they can be given something to eat, Hu Yuang and the others are vested interests in this shelter. They have power and no shortage of food. Even though he is now in awe of Xialuo and is willing to do things for Xialuo, he might have other ideas in mind. Okay, Hu Yuang nodded and didn't say anything more. Xialuo didn't need them to do things, and they couldn't ask for more. After all, Xialuo and the others are too mysterious, and what happened today is too unbelievable. Hu Yuang and the others still feel as if they are in a dream, but Hu Yuang and the others also understand one thing, that is, if they really want to take action, Maybe all the people in the entire shelter combined will not be Li Xiaoluo's opponent, so if Li Xiaoluo forced them to do something, they would not dare to disobey, unless they also wanted to have their hands and feet bitten off by the dog, or their necks bitten off directly. But if they really want to do things for Li Xiaoluo, they are afraid that if they don't do a good job, they will still end up in the same end, so they are naturally eager to stay away from Li Xiaoluo. As for the food and other rewards mentioned by Li Xiaoluo, Hu Yong and the others are not very interested at all. After all, as members of the guard team in this shelter, they are responsible for the safety of the entire shelter, so they must not be hungry. So their food treatment has always been very good. Li Xiaoluo's food is not very attractive to them at all, and just when Li Xiaoluo was about to recruit people from the group of refugees, suddenly, another group of people came over from not far away. The leader of that group of people was a middle-aged man wearing a white shirt, with a hint of the aura of a superior. Captain. What's going on here? Why did you use guns in the shelter? You've disturbed the leader, can you bear it? When the group of people approached, a man dressed as a secretary next to the middle-aged man came up and looked at Hu Yong with an unhappy face and scolded him. This male secretary obviously doesn't have a good relationship with Hu Yong. He is deliberately trying to cause trouble for him in front of the leader, but Hu Yong was not angry about the secretary's trouble. He did not immediately go to see if the leader in the secretary's mouth was angry. Hu Yong's first reaction was to quickly and carefully observe Li Xiaoluo's reaction. He was afraid that this mysterious man would be angry and bite someone if he disagreed with him. Not only Hu Yong had this reaction, but also the other members of the escort team next to Hu Yong behaved the same way as Hu Yong. They all quickly looked at Li Xiaoluo, fearing that Li Xiaoluo would get angry again, but fortunately, Li Xiaoluo did not show an angry look on his face. Li Xiaoluo just looked at Hu Yong calmly and said, Hu Yong, give you 1 minute. After 1 minute, I don't want anyone to bother me about recruiting people, okay? I will explain it to our director immediately and promise not to disturb you again. Being called out by Li Xiaoluo, Hu Yong did not dare to refute. After responding, he quickly ran to the middle-aged man who had the aura of a superior. Then, Hu Yong whispered in the middle-aged man's ear for a while. When Hu Yong said that, the middle-aged man's face was also very wonderful. After Hu Yong finished speaking, the middle-aged man was silent for a while, and then said a few words to the people around him. Chapter 360. Everyone was shocked again. Obviously, everyone was quiet, and no one dared to disturb Li Xiaoluo anymore. Li Xiaoluo didn't bother to contact the people in power of this shelter first, as long as they didn't interfere with him. Li Xiaoluo walked to the center of the small square and said loudly, Hello everyone, let me introduce myself first. My name is Li Xiaoluo. You can just call me Mr. Li. I now need to recruit 200 healthy people to work for me, both men and women. Anyone who is willing can come to me later. In addition, I promise that as long as the person is chosen by me, he will have a full meal immediately, and as long as you work hard and complete the task, I will reward you with more food. After what happened just now, all the refugees looked at Li Xiaoluo with awe in their eyes. When everyone heard what Li Xiaoluo said about recruiting people in the first half, some of them didn't dare to say anything, and some didn't want to do anything for Li Xiaoluo. They were afraid that if they had the life to do things for Li Xiaoluo, they might not have the life to get paid. But what Li Xiaoluo said next made all the refugees excited. As long as the selected person has not done anything, he will be given a full meal. Pay attention to the important points. Are you full? We must know that among these refugees, who is not hungry for 1 meal but is full for 9 meals. That's something I still remember. Mr. Li, are you telling the truth? As long as we are selected by you, we will have food immediately? And we will be full. There must be a brave man under a heavy reward. At this moment, when everyone looked at Li Xiaoluo, their eyes were no longer fearful, but turned into passion. Anyway, they are starving to death. Even if Li Xiaoluo asks them to do some dangerous work, it is still good to be a full-fledged ghost. Mr. Li, can you tell us what you want us to do? Yes, Mr. Li. Does your job have to leave this shelter? If you have to leave this shelter, then I'd better not go. Of course, some people are still afraid of death, otherwise they would have chosen to go out. At any time, everyone will have different choices. There is no shortage of people in this shelter, so Li Xiaoluo will not force anyone. He believes that there are many people who want to live. Li Xiaoluo looked at the people talking about each other, and then said loudly, Quiet, listen to me on 2 points first. First of all, as long as you meet my requirements and are selected by me, You can rest assured that you will definitely have a good meal before doing things for me. If I didn't give if you want to eat your food, you can just refuse to work for me. Secondly, the 200 people I have recruited this time will be divided into many teams, and then I will ask you to go outside the shelter to search for meteorites for me. By then, as long as any team finds meteorites, then each meteorite will be mined by me. I will reward you with some extra food or medicine. As for what are meteorites? I believe you all saw something falling from the sky yesterday. Those objects are meteorites. I need you to find them in the city, and then bring them back to me according to my requirements. Of course, I will not only let you eat before you go out to work. In addition, I will also provide you with cars, guns and ammunition and other equipment, so that you can better complete the task of finding meteorites. I believe that as long as you have the courage, even if you go out there may be some dangers out there, but it's definitely not as scary as you think. In addition, if someone doesn't want to leave this shelter and doesn't want to take a little risk, then just stay here and starve. This time Xialuo made it clear that all the refugees knew what Xialuo asked them to do. Let them go outside and look for those rocks that fell from the sky. Many people actually can't understand that if we are still in a prosperous age, then if we can find those meteorites falling from the sky, we might be able to achieve financial freedom. But this is already the end of the world. What's the value of looking for those meteorites? But these are not things they care about, as long as Xialuo can really do what he said. First let them have a full meal, and then provide them with cars and guns. Finally, they can get additional food or medicine from the meteorites they find outside. With such a good thing, naturally many people are not willing to miss the opportunity. Of course, the main reason is that they are too hungry. Whoever has tried it knows the feeling of starvation. Moreover, if it was someone else who offered such generous terms, it didn't come from Xialuo's mouth, then everyone may 100% think it is a scam. They want them to die, or they want to trick them out of the shelter and then steal their money. After all, in this apocalyptic world, why don't you give me a full meal before you have a job? And when we go outside, we also provide cars and guns. These all sound like scams. Even fantasy, because before Charlotte Lee showed up, how many guns did they have in total in the shelter? The management of each gun is very strict. When members of a large team go out to look for food, basically few people can own a gun. What's more, give guns to refugees like them. In addition, before Xialuo came, their shelter didn't even have a working car. In fact, no one may even dare to believe that there are still cars running normally after the flood. But if Xialuo said all this, then everyone basically believes it, because no matter how outrageous things happen, no matter how outrageous, how can an invulnerable dog be so outrageous? Moreover, Xialuo came by car, so Xialuo said that there was nothing wrong with providing a car for them to search for meteorites outside. Mr. Lee, I sign up, and me, sign up too, except for some people who were really afraid of death or had no ability to move. A large group of people immediately surrounded Xialuo. Xialuo took a quick look and found that there were about 500 refugees in this shelter, and there should be about 400 people who signed up. Xialuo naturally does not need so many people, and some people are not qualified to eat from him, so Xialuo asked everyone to line up, and then started to use the exploratory eyes to check their personal information. Those whose friendliness is too low, regardless of gender, will be eliminated. People with supernatural talents, if they are men, will also be eliminated. Of course, the elimination here does not mean that Xialuo wants to kill them. It is not necessary in this shelter. Xialuo will stay in this shelter today, so even if there are men with supernatural talents, Xialuo will not kill them, but he will not let them join the team looking for meteorites. Finally, Xialuo selected 300 people. Originally he planned to recruit 200 people and that would be enough, but Xialuo thought for a while, we don't have much time today, so we might as well recruit more people. At that time, the 300 people will be directly divided into 30 teams. In that case, they can search the entire city for meteorites as quickly as possible. Then, Xialuo selected some squad leaders from the 300 people according to the methods of the previous bases. Finally, Xialuo waved his hand, and a large amount of food, cars, guns, appeared directly in front of everyone. This scene shocked everyone again. Chapter 361 Lucky Wen Giant Fu. A lot of things, even big things like cars, suddenly appeared out of thin air. No matter if it were anyone else, I'm afraid they would be confused. You even have to wonder, have you seen a ghost? The most powerful magician in the world can't do such a thing, right? Don't say you've done it, I'm afraid you won't even think about it. As for those people recruited by Li Xiaoluo originally said that he would provide them with cars and weapons to complete the mission outside. And then everyone subconsciously thought that Li Xiaoluo had put those things somewhere else and would take them there to pick them up when the time came, but no one thought that Mr. Li would actually carry these things with him. People who can carry dozens of cars with them have finally learned a lot today, but when I think about the powerful dog from before, everyone seems not to be so unacceptable anymore, but at this moment, everyone felt that Li Xiaoluo and the dog were even more mysterious, and they felt more in awe. At this time, not only all the refugees were shocked, even Hu Yuang and the soldiers in the escort were all shocked again. Of course, the one who was shocked at the same time was the director of this shelter, the middle-aged man from before who had the aura of a superior. The middle-aged man's name is Wang Jianfu, and he was a high-ranking official in the government before the end. A burst of gunfire suddenly rang out inside the happiness shelter, and Wang Jianfu, who was at work at the time, immediately became angry. He has strictly requested that no one can shoot in the shelter, otherwise he will deal with it seriously no matter who it is, so Wang Jianfu was furious. He originally brought a group of high-level officials from the shelter to ask for punishment, but his secretary had just questioned him, and he had not waited for him to express his anger in person. Hu Yuang, the captain of the shelter guard team, quickly whispered in his ear the general situation of the matter. After listening to Hu Yuang's description, Wang Jianfu's first reaction was that Hu Yuang had lost his mind, or maybe Hu Yuang took drugs. Otherwise, how could he say such outrageous things? Can a dog still be invulnerable? Moreover, you can break human bones with just one bite. Hu Yuang told Wang Jianfu that they must not anger that man, otherwise all of them might die. What Hu Yuang said is really outrageous. Let alone whether the dog is really that powerful. Let's just say that the reason why their happy shelter can grow and develop is because they have a pre-apocalyptic armed police force with a lot of guns and ammunition. So if there really is a fight, they won't be able to deal with 2 people and a dog. Wang Jianfu would never believe it. However, Wang Jianfu still knows Hu Yuang's character relatively well. Hu Yuang has relatives in their shelter, so he should not betray or make random jokes. In addition, there were indeed many screaming and wailing people lying on the ground, so Wang Jianfu finally decided to believe Hu Yuang's words and not provoke Li Xiaoluo first. They would wait and see the situation. Later I heard that the man named Li Xiaoluo had spent so much effort, and then even distributed food, cars and weapons to the refugees, just to let them go out to look for meteorites falling from the sky. Wang Jianfu's expression turned strange again at that time. He didn't know how to evaluate this matter. Is this just playing with things and losing one's ambition? How long has it been? Who is still in the mood to collect those meteorites? Not to mention meteorites, even if the top quality diamonds and imperial greens are placed in front of survivors, not many people will even take a second look. What's the use? It's not as attractive as a piece of bread to the survivors. If money and gems were still useful before the end of the world, then the banks and jewelry stores on the streets would have been looted long ago. Now no one will go hungry anymore. However, Wang Jianfu doesn't care whether Li Xiaoluo is bored with things or has other ideas, but Wang Jianfu is actually happy to see Li Xiaoluo do this. After all, the food problem for the large number of refugees in Happy Shelter has actually become a headache for him. Moreover, there is still no solution to the problem, because in the apocalypse, everyone has no choice but to look for food outside in order to survive. But now there is little food outside, so any food often means fighting for it by force. As for the refugees in the shelter, the reason why they become refugees is basically because they are timid or have little fighting ability, and the shelter does not have extra weapons to provide them, so they can only stay in the shelter without fighting. Dare to go outside, but with so many people staying in shelters, there simply aren't many jobs for them to do, and it is unrealistic to rely on shelters to provide financial support. Even if Wang Jianfu is willing to provide food to these refugees, his people will not be willing, especially those exploration teams who have to go out to look for food every day. They risk their lives every day to find the food outside. If it is provided for free to those who lie in the shelter and do nothing, then who is willing to go out and take risks? They can also lie down in the shelter and eat ready-made food, so before a large amount of food is found or new food sources appear, it is really difficult to solve the food problem for everyone in the shelter. And this Li Xiaoluo who suddenly appeared was actually willing to use food to find those refugees to look for meteorites outside. This suddenly solved the survival problems of many people. For Wang Jianfu, Li Xiaoluo also solved his trouble, So regardless of whether Li Xiaoluo is as miraculous as Hu Yuang said, Wang Jianfu plans not to hold Li Xiaoluo responsible for now, just like there are many private forces in the Happy Shelter. In fact, those forces will also do some dirty things in private, but as long as they have an effect on the development and stability of the shelter, he and the management of the shelter just turn a blind eye. However, until Li Xiaoluo suddenly changed such a lot of things, Wang Jianfu is extremely shocked. At the same time, he also confirmed that Tu Yuang had not exaggerated before and really did not lie to him. The man, woman, and dog who suddenly appeared in their shelter are really not ordinary people, or should I say not ordinary humans. Wang Jianfu is now very happy that he did not do anything disrespectful to Li Xiaoluo just now, otherwise, he doesn't know whether their shelter can still exist. But the person who offended that Li Xiaoluo will definitely not end well, because that Li Xiaoluo can kill them all by just sending out a dog. Chapter 362. Today will be a fruitful day. What is happiness? For today's survivors, if they can eat enough and there is no spoiled or moldy food, that is definitely the happiest thing. The 300 people recruited by Li Xiaoluo did not expect that the food Li Xiaoluo provided them turned out to be the highest quality food. You know, the food that people in their shelter usually find when they go out is basically moldy or spoiled food. It's just that the spoilage is not too serious, and if it is cooked at high temperature, it is still edible, and it will not kill anyone in a short period of time. As for food with good quality, people who search outside can occasionally find it. But the food is basically supplied to the high-level asylum seekers and soldiers, and the refugees at the bottom don't even think about eating it. So this time Li Xiaoluo not only gave them food, but also made them full, and the food they ate was high-quality food that had not spoiled, even if it's just the cheapest bread before the end of the world. But at this moment, all 300 of them were extremely excited. They feel that this is the happiest day they have had in months. It turns out that happiness is really that simple. Many people even had tears in their eyes while eating, and all this was naturally seen by other refugees. The remaining hundreds of refugees who did not work for Li Xiaoluo naturally had no food to eat. They could only watch the 300 people gobble it up, and then drool with envy. At this moment, many people really regretted it and went crazy because when Li Xiaoluo asked who was willing to accept employment, they chose to stay away. In their view, working for Li Xiaoluo will definitely not end well. First, Li Xiaoluo is definitely a dangerous person, and it is not an exaggeration to describe him as someone who kills without blinking an eye. Although Li Xiaoluo did not take action, the people killed by the dog will naturally be counted on Li Xiaoluo. Secondly, although the treatment given by Li Xiaoluo is very good and the words are nice, but it is strange that a big shot like him can walk his talk. When the time comes, will they get paid after completing the work for him? In this post-apocalyptic world, where will there be any trustworthy boss? Third, it is so dangerous outside now, and Li Xiaoluo lets them run around the whole city, which makes it even more dangerous. So some people who think they are very smart did not sign up at all. Now, they really regret it, because Li Xiaoluo not only brought out a lot of cars and guns on the spot, but also really gave everyone something to eat. After all, those 300 people are eating in front of them, so they can't fake it. Of course, there were some people who actually wanted to do things for Li Xiaoluo, but were eliminated by Li Xiaoluo. So at this time, when they see those people selected by Li Xiaoluo eating big food, let alone the envy in their hearts, but no matter whether they were regretful or envious, no one dared to stand up and say anything. After all, they don't want to die or have their necks bitten off by that dog, so I can only endure the suffering and watch those former companions enjoy the food. Fortunately, their suffering did not last long. Li Xiaoluo did not have time to wait for the 300 people to eat slowly, so he directly ordered them to set off to work quickly. As for the food, let them take it to the car and they can eat it on the road too. This time, Li Xiaoluo recruited a total of 300 people, and then divided the 300 people into 30 teams. Each team had a captain and deputy captain, and each captain and deputy captain were assigned a gun. Then there were 10 districts in Shenzhen City, and they drew lots to decide which district their teams would search in. Of course, the closer the district is, the fewer teams will be sent. The farther away the area is, the more teams will be sent. In this way, using the crowd tactic, they can search the entire city as much as possible today. Soon, all the teams got on the bus, and then left the shelter and headed in all directions. After all the people were sent out, Li Xiaoluo was not too anxious. He would just wait for the meteorites they brought back, and today is not only the meteorite harvest in the city, there are also bases number 1, 2, and 3. There will also be a wave of income later. In addition, the female soldiers sent out by Li Xiaoluo's own Taoyuan leader will all come back today, and there should be a lot of gains by then. In short, Li Xiaoluo had a hunch that he would definitely make a lot of money today. Hello, Mr. Li Xiaoluo, my name is Wang Jianfu, and I am the director of this shelter. First of all, welcome to our shelter. In addition, you have hired so many refugees here and saved their lives. I represent our happiness. Sanctuary thanks you. Just when Li Xiaoluo was stunned, Wang Jianfu suddenly led a group of people and walked towards Li Xiaoluo, but seeing the majestic big black dog guarding Li Xiaoluo's feet, and thinking of what Hu Yong told him about the ferocity of the big black dog, Wang Jianfu didn't dare to get too close to Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo glanced at Wang Jianfu indifferently. This man had an air of majesty about him. At first glance, he looked like the kind of person who has been in power for a long time. Li Xiaoluo nodded to Wang Jianfu, which was considered a response. He didn't even mean to speak, because no matter what Wang Jianfu's identity was before the end, or his current identity, there is no deterrent to Li Xiaoluo. Even if Li Xiaoluo wants to, he can directly turn this shelter upside down and make this shelter completely have only his voice. Li Xiaoluo, however, Li Xiaoluo has always been a person who is too lazy to bother, so he does not want to make trouble, nor does he want to kill people. Nor does he want the power of this shelter. These are of no use to Li Xiaoluo, so as long as the people in charge of this shelter are sensible and don't take the initiative to trouble Li Xiaoluo, then Li Xiaoluo won't bother to trouble them. Although Wang Jianfu has come to see Li Xiaoluo now, he is obviously very sensible. Not only is he not looking for trouble with Li Xiaoluo, but he is very friendly and even puts a high hat on Li Xiaoluo. Although Li Xiaoluo knew that Wang Jianfu kept his attitude low because he was afraid of him and Alice, but Li Xiaoluo doesn't care. He won't stay in this shelter for long anyway. Regarding Li Xiaoluo's attitude, Wang Jianfu did not show the slightest displeasure on his face and said as usual, "Mr. Li Xiaoluo, I don't know if I can take the liberty to ask, are you Chinese? And did you get your superpowers after the end of the world?" Li Xiaoluo said calmly, "Director Wang, I am naturally Chinese. As for other things, you will naturally know about it later." Wang Jianfu could tell that Li Xiaoluo didn't want to tell him anything, but Wang Jianfu didn't want to give up, and he wanted to ask something insinuating. Suddenly, among the refugees over there, a little girl of 12 or 13 years old suddenly ran over. Then, with a plop, he knelt down towards Li Xiaoluo. Chapter 363. What? Have you seen a big meteorite? Mr. Li, please give me some food. My brother is starving to death. As long as you can give me some food, I will do whatever you ask me to do. The little girl who suddenly ran out and knelt in front of Li Xiaoluo was wearing a dirty school uniform, and her face was dirty. After all, the apocalypse has been happening for so long, and being dirty is the sign of a survivor. It can be said that there are very few survivors as glamorous as Charlotte Li and Alice. Li Xiaoluo glanced at the frail little girl kneeling on the ground. If the person kneeling on the ground was a top-notch beauty, then Li Xiaoluo might not even be able to take a look at her. After all, in such a large shelter, beautiful women may have been targeted by countless men. Li Xiaoluo doesn't have the hobby of driving a bus, so it's useless no matter how beautiful she is. What's more, the person in front of him is still a young girl, so Li Xiaoluo is even less interested. Li Xiaoluo said to the girl kneeling on the ground, "Get up, I have no interest in you, and I don't have anything to do for you. Also, since your brother is going to starve to death, why didn't your brother come out to apply when I was recruiting people just now?" The little girl kneeling on the ground cried, "Mr. Li, please have mercy on us. My brother had one of his legs broken by thugs when he was protecting the outside. And later on, my brother gave me most of the food. He is now in very poor health. We can't do anything at all. In addition, I actually signed up just now, but because I was young, you eliminated me." Li Xiaoluo had no expression on his face, looked at the girl and said, "You are a member of this happy shelter. If you have any difficulties, you should go to the director of your shelter, Wang. It's useless to go to me." It's not that Li Xiaoluo is too cold-blooded, because Li Xiaoluo knows that there are too many miserable people in the apocalypse, and he simply can't save them, and he won't save them, just like this girl, her brother, and the hundreds of refugees here. Each of them looks like they are dying, and they are all skin and bones. Who is not pitiful? If Charlotte Li helps this little girl, then the remaining refugees will definitely come forward and seek help from Charlotte Li, And just like Li Xiaoluo said, if they are the women he leads in Taoyuan, then Li Xiaoluo will naturally take care of them, but this is a happy sanctuary. If they have difficulties, they will naturally go to their director, not Li Xiaoluo. Wang Jianfu on the side opened his mouth. He really had the obligation to care about the life and death of these refugees. He originally wanted to give the girl some food. Firstly, the girl does look quite pitiful, and secondly, Li Xiaoluo has said so, and he doesn't want to be looked down upon too much by Li Xiaoluo. But when he saw the hundreds of pairs of hungry wolf-like eyes next to him, what Wang Jianfu wanted to say suddenly changed to another one. Little girl, get up. It's not easy for everyone now. Mr. Li is the same, and the same is true for our shelter. So if you want to get food, you still have to go outside and look for it yourself. Of course, everyone can rest assured that our shelter has its own exploration team going out to search for food. If they can find enough food, I will definitely distribute relief food to everyone in time. In addition, many private teams in our shelter go out to look for food every day. As long as they can have a bumper harvest, they will definitely give you some food. Wang Jianfu's words could be said to be repeating an old tune, and the faces of the hundreds of refugees were immediately filled with disappointment. They originally thought that Li Xiaoluo or Wang Jianfu would help this little girl because of their reputation. Then they would also run up and pay for it, and maybe they could get some food today. The little girl kneeling on the ground was full of tears and despair. If her brother was not injured, then maybe the two of them would have a chance to survive in this apocalypse. But now, she and her brother are very weak existences, and it is too difficult to survive. In fact, she also knew that even if Li Xiaoluo or Wang Jianfu took pity on her just now and gave her some food, it would only be enough to make her brother eat a full meal, but it would not change their fate at all. Sister, get up and come back to me. At this time, a weak voice came from the ground among the group of refugees. It was a young man in his 20s with very long hair, but his legs were twisted and obviously broken, so he could only lie on the ground. When the little girl heard her brother's call, she quickly stood up from the ground with some difficulty, and then ran to the young man with a broken leg. Brother, you're awake, how do you feel? Her brother had fainted from hunger before, so the little girl wanted to sign up to work for Li Xiaoluo and go out to look for meteorites. It's a pity that she is too young, so naturally she is not among the 300 people selected by Li Xiaoluo. Then the little girl knelt down and begged Li Xiaoluo again, and even wanted to sell herself, just to get some food to save her brother. The young man looked at the little girl with a stern face. Sister, don't beg others for me. It's useless. I won't live long. You'll, he said this. The young man's eyes were red and he couldn't say any more. He originally wanted to say, Sister, just take care of yourself from now on, but he realized that if he died, what ability would his sister, a young girl, have to take care of herself in such an apocalyptic world? This FG doomsday. But when the young man thought about it, it was actually okay. If my sister couldn't hold on anymore, maybe it would be a relief. You can suffer less. Looking at her frail brother, the little girl felt extremely distressed and guilty. If her brother hadn't been protecting her, he wouldn't have had his legs broken by those thugs, and he wouldn't have died without even a meal. No, even if she dies, she must make sure her brother is full. So, the little girl suddenly ran in front of Li Xiaoluo again. She said seriously, Mr. Li, I don't need you to give me free food, and I don't need you to give me weapons and cars. I just want to ask you, if I go out, I will help you find the contents of the meteorite. Golden egg. Can you also reward me with some bread? Li Xiaoluo glanced at the little girl in surprise. You want to go out to look for meteorites alone? Yes. The little girl nodded quickly, and then looked at Li Xiaoluo expectantly. Li Xiaoluo said speechlessly, if you have the ability to look for meteorites everywhere, then why don't you just go out to look for food? Why do you need to trade meteorites with me for food? The little girl quickly said, Mr. Li, because I don't know where to find food, and even if I find food outside, it will be robbed by others. But I know where the meteorite is. A big meteorite? What? Have you ever seen a big meteorite? Li Xiaoluo, who was still casual at first, suddenly looked at the little girl excitedly. Chapter 364 Lin Mengmeng and Lin Xiaoyi. The little girl didn't know why Li Xiaoluo was so excited, but she seemed to see hope, so she nodded quickly and said, Yes, Mr. Li, my brother and I came to this shelter after escaping from other places. We had seen a large meteorite in a relatively remote industrial park before. It was more than 10 meters high. Li Xiaoluo can be sure that the little girl is not lying, because ordinary people may not even know that large meteorites exist. Xialuo looked at the little girl. "What's your name?" The little girl quickly said, "Mr. Li, my name is Lin Meng, and my brother's name is Lin Xiaoyi, Li." Xialuo smiled. "You don't have to call me Mr. Li from now on, it's too awkward. Just call me Brother Li from now on, Lin." Meng looked at Xialuo somewhat flattered. Brother Li's attitude changed too quickly, right? However, Lin Meng naturally did not dare to be disobedient, so she quickly called out in a low voice, "Brother Li, Wang." Jianfu next to him was speechless as he watched Xialuo's sudden change of face. While lamenting Xialuo's shamelessness, he also understood in his heart that Xialuo seemed to be very concerned about that large meteorite. Sure enough, Xialuo said to Lin Meng again, "I am very interested in the big meteorite you mentioned. I don't need you to get it back from me, and I don't have time to wait for others to get it back from me. This way, come on, take me directly to the big meteorite and I'll do it myself." Lin Meng quickly glanced at her brother Lin Xiaoyi and saw that his brother nodded towards her, so Lin Meng quickly nodded and said, "Okay, Brother Li, I will take you there now, Li." Xialuo walked up to Lin Xiaoyi and said, "You have also seen that I attach great importance to that big meteorite. What conditions do you not want your sister to discuss with me, Lin?" Xiaoyi shook his head and said, "Mr. Li, refugees with no ability like us have no right to negotiate terms with you. Furthermore, even if we don't tell you where the meteorite is, you will definitely find the meteorite sooner or later with so many people sent out. In fact, it doesn't matter whether we tell you or not. So even if we don't tell you, you will. It's just that I got the meteorite later, and my sister will take you here, Mr. Li. With your generosity, Mr. Li, you will definitely not treat my sister badly, Li." Xialuo smiled. "Yes, in this doomsday, smart people can live longer, but you can rest assured that I never take advantage of others. As long as your sister leads me to find that big meteorite, I will definitely not treat you badly. I will give you 500 kilograms of grain, 2 pistols and 20 meteorite bullets, let you have food and the ability to protect yourself. Finally, I will heal your legs. What about these rewards, Brother Li? Can you really cure my brother's leg?" After Lin Meng heard Xialuo's words, she was already very excited about the food and guns, but hearing that Xialuo could also cure her brother's leg made her even more excited. Not only Lin Meng, but also Lin Xiaoyi, who had been very calm on the ground, his eyes burst out with intense brilliance at this time. He had long been disheartened and felt that he was a waste and was just dragging his sister down, but now that he heard that Xialuo could cure his leg, he suddenly had hope of living again. If someone else said this, he would definitely not believe it and would only think that he was being lied to. You must know that his legs were broken, and in this apocalyptic world, it is difficult to find even the most common medicines, let alone surgery, so even the most powerful doctor before the apocalypse can't cure his leg now. But this sentence was said by Xialuo, so Lin Xiaoyi believed it. After all, even if something outrageous happened to this mysterious person like Xialuo, no one at the scene would be surprised, and naturally the same would be true for Lin Xiaoyi. Xialuo did not directly answer Lin Meng's words, but said lightly, "Let's go. Whether your brother's legs can heal depends on whether you can lead me to find the big meteorite." After saying that, Xialuo hugged Alice and walked toward the car. The general quickly followed like a bodyguard. Lin Meng glanced at Lin Xiaoyi and quickly followed. Xialuo and the others got in the car. Lin Meng looked at the luxurious and clean seats in the car, and then looked at her dirty appearance. She immediately dared to stand holding the handle of the car. She was afraid that she would make Xialuo angry by making the car dirty. Exclamation mark. In fact, Lin Meng was a little overthinking. Now Xialuo only had that large meteorite in his heart and had no time to care about other things, let alone a car. When Xialuo's car left the happy sanctuary, he naturally walked through the same gate as when he entered, but this time, Xialuo's car was treated differently. The security guards on duty at the gate not only did not stop him, but instead stood in a neat row, nodded and bowed, waved their hands, and sent Xialuo's car away. Obviously, the security guards standing guard at the gate also know how powerful Xialuo is, and Xialuo has no time to find trouble with these people. At Xialuo's level, these people are just like ants in his eyes. After leaving the happy shelter, under the guidance of Lin Meng, Xialuo drove about 5 kilometers and finally arrived at the industrial zone Lin Meng mentioned. When Lin Mengmeng and her brother lived here before, their lives must have been in danger. Otherwise, she, a little girl, and her brother, a disabled person with a broken leg, would never have made it this far in the apocalypse. Run to that happy sanctuary. Li Xiaoluo flew the drone, and sure enough, he saw the large meteorite among several factories in this industrial zone. Li Xiaoluo did not expect that the last city on his trip would have such an unexpected surprise. Since last time, Li Xiaoluo saw the number of crystals in the large meteorite, Li Xiaoluo has finally tasted the sweetness. He has always been thinking about whether he can find another big meteorite. After all, the crystals from a large meteorite, if you're lucky, can be worth the crystals from all the meteorites in several cities combined. Definitely a sudden fortune. Li Xiaoluo drove the cart to the entrance of the industrial zone, but the entrance was blocked by some construction materials. So Li Xiaoluo turned off the car and planned to get out of the car. Lin Mengmeng said quickly, "Brother Li, the big meteorite is in this industrial zone. But we have to be careful. There is a group of people in this industrial zone. They are all construction workers before the end of the world. They are very cruel." Li Xiaoluo couldn't help laughing. "Cruel? Are they as cruel as my dog?" If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365. What ABD? Why is there a woman with blue eyes here? Lin Mengmeng suddenly stopped talking. She remembered the time in the happy sanctuary, when the big black dog killed everyone. That black dog can no longer be described as ferocious, but makes everyone feel desperate, because no one can hurt it. They can only be bitten to death or maimed one by one. Who cannot despair when encountering that kind of situation, because they are not opponents of the same level at all. That's why Lin Mengmeng realized that she seemed to have said some nonsense just now. Brother Li and the others are so powerful. Why are they still afraid of those thugs in this industrial park? Just like when we were at Happy Sanctuary, the members of the Wild Wolf group were very arrogant and domineering in front of refugees like them. But in the end the entire team was wiped out by Brother Li. Also, the director of Happy Sanctuary and the members of the escort team usually have guns in their hands, so no one dares to challenge their authority in Happy Sanctuary. They can punish whoever they want. But in front of Brother Li, they didn't dare to do anything. They were as honest as quails, so my worries and reminders seemed to be unnecessary. Li Xiaoluo didn't care about Lin Mengmeng's thoughts anymore. He walked towards the gate of the industrial zone with 2 women and a dog. When he reached the blocked door, Li Xiaoluo casually took all the things blocking the door into the system space, and then threw them all into the open space next to it. Lin Mengmeng, who was following Li Xiaoluo, looked at the gate that had been cleared in the blink of an eye. Although she had seen Li Xiaoluo's magic before, she was still a little stunned now. Lin Mengmeng felt so amazing. "Honey, look, the big meteorite is over there." After entering the industrial area, Alice saw the large meteorite at a glance, and she couldn't help but scream in surprise. After all, Alice is now a superpower, so she naturally knows the importance of meteorites, especially such large meteorites, which are definitely the most precious treasures in this apocalypse. "Come on, let's collect it." Li Xiaoluo was naturally very happy, and then took the lead towards the big meteorite. Li Xiaoluo walked to the big meteorite, then reached out and touched it. The huge meteorite, which was several stories high, suddenly disappeared. Li Xiaoluo is not in a hurry and will open this big meteorite now. He plans to take it back to Taoyuan leader to discuss it later. After all, opening meteorites actually requires luck. Li Xiaoluo decided to let Qin Miao and Alice open this large meteorite. Some people are God's darlings, and you can't help but accept their luck. I was able to successfully find this big meteorite, and then I was very happy to see the beautiful sisters Li Xiaoluo and Alice. Lin Mengmeng also showed her happiest smile after the end of the world, because Brother Li promised her that he would cure her brother's leg after finding the big meteorite, and he would also give them food and weapons. Lin Mengmeng didn't care what the meteorite was used for. Now all she could think about was how Brother Li would use it to treat her brother's leg. And would it be cured? Because although Brother Li is very mysterious, he can conjure things out of thin air, and he can also make things disappear out of thin air, but treating his brother's leg requires medical skills, and Lin Mengmeng is not sure whether Brother Li can do it, but as long as there's hope, Lin Mengmeng is already content. "Gizzy, who are you? How did you get in?" You didn't know this was our territory, just. When Xialuo took the meteorite into the system space and was about to leave, a cursed voice suddenly came. Then several dark-skinned middle-aged men dressed as migrant workers walked quickly towards Xialuo and the others. Lin Mengmeng had long said that this industrial zone had been used as a stronghold by a group of construction workers, so it was no surprise to Xialuo that several migrant workers suddenly appeared. What? A BD? Why is there a woman with blue eyes here? Damn. This foreign girl is so tall. Although I am only 1.6 meters tall, every time I go to look for girls, I like to find girls who are taller than me. I have taken a liking to this foreign girl. Don't follow any of you. I'll grab it, son of a turtle, you can dream. This foreign girl is as big as a panda, and I have taken a fancy to her. But what's the use of our fancy? Will Brother Hu and the others agree? When those migrant workers approached Xialuo and the others, and then saw the faces of Xialuo and Alice, they were all shocked by Alice. Their attention was all focused on Alice, and their eyes were so fast. Stared out. Boy, I didn't expect you to be so beautiful. You actually brought 2 women with you, and there was also a beautiful foreign girl. But now that you have broken into our territory, you are already invading us. Originally, we were going to kill you yours, but now I will give you a chance. As long as you keep these 2 women and surrender obediently, then we will not hurt you. Among the several migrant workers, a relatively strong man looked at Xialuo and spoke first. After the muscular man spoke, but before Xialuo could answer, his own people had an opinion. A thin, short man said, "Old Wang, you are out of your mind. Let's just arrest them all. Why are you talking so much nonsense to him?" The muscular man glared at the short man. He wanted to be safe after all. If a man can survive with 2 women in the post-apocalyptic world, maybe this man will have some skills. At this time, Xialuo finally made a move, but instead of taking action himself, he waved his hand to the general. The general immediately received Xialuo's order, and then he rushed towards the migrant workers like a sharp arrow from a string. Just now, the attention of the migrant workers was actually almost all attracted by Alice, and none of them saw the general squatting at Xialuo's feet. Until then, they suddenly saw a dark guy rushing toward them. They were shocked at first, until they saw clearly that it was a big black dog. Surprise appeared on their faces again. Although that Yangma is beautiful, once caught, it will definitely be occupied by the boss above, and they will have no chance at all. But this black dog is different. Such a big one is enough to eat several meals of dog meat hot pot, and they were the ones who caught it. Why should they eat a few more bites of meat? Thinking of this, several men did not show a trace of fear when facing the menacing big dog. When the black dog approached, the men directly waved the steel pipes in their hands, and then hit the general hard. Chapter 366 Being Despised by a Dog. Looking at the several steel pipes hitting him, the leading dog showed a trace of disdain in his eyes. In fact, if it wants to avoid being hit by these steel pipes, the general can easily do it, because after the general awakens his superpower, although speed is not his strong point, it is still much improved than before. However, the general did not dodge the steel pipes that came at him, because since he awakened his superpower, the general felt that he enjoyed having someone tickling him. Soon, the steel pipes of several men were on the general. However, the screams they expected did not come out. The big black dog that they beat severely several times actually looked at them calmly. They even seemed to see a hint of ridicule in the dog's eyes. The big black dog seemed to be saying, "You grown men, you only have this little strength? Why is it like scratching an itch?" Although they don't know dog language, several people can confirm that they seem to be really despised by a dog. What a mess, and this world is so crazy. Why is this dog not afraid of pain, even a human expression? However, those construction workers all had violent personalities. How could they bear to be despised by a dog? So they were planning to give the dog a severe lesson. However, after playing for a while, the general had no time to play with him. The general suddenly ran to a man quickly, then opened his big mouth and bit the man's calf hard. Click, the man's leg bone was bitten off. Ah! The man whose leg bone was bitten off let out a shrill scream. "You are a beast, I will beat you to death." Seeing that his companion's leg was bitten off, the steel pipe in another man's hand hit the general hard. This time, the general didn't wait for the steel pipe to hit it. He suddenly jumped up, bit the steel pipe and hit it at it. There was another click, and the steel pipe in the man's hand broke. At this time, several men who originally wanted to kill the general were dumbfounded. What's going on? Even if this dog can break the bones of their companions, how come it can even break steel pipes? Is this a titanium dog? Even the man on the ground who was screaming in pain because of his broken leg was suddenly frightened into silence when he saw that the dog had bitten the steel pipe. Isn't it too cruel? Is this still a normal dog? At this moment, several men realized that all this was too abnormal. In fact, it has been abnormal ever since several of them hit the dog with a steel pipe just now. Otherwise, if it were an ordinary dog, no matter how powerful it was, would it be as powerful as a few of them armed with weapons? No matter how powerful it is, it will always hurt after being hit. It's a pity that they only realize now that it's a bit too late. The general didn't give them another chance, and kept walking between several men, giving those men a bite of their legs. By the way, suddenly, there were several men on the ground who had their legs bitten off and were groaning in pain. After biting off the legs of several men, the general barked at Xialuo twice. Xialuo understood what the general meant. The general was asking him if he wanted to kill them all. Xialuo walked up to the men and said expressionlessly, "Which of you has a walkie-talkie with you? Now that you have encountered an enemy, you can call for support." Several men looked at Xialuo, some looking at each other. They didn't know what Xialuo meant. "Let them call for help," Xialuo said coldly. "Please call for help quickly, otherwise you may not be able to save your lives." A man was so frightened that he immediately begged for mercy. "Brother, we know we were wrong. Just spare us. As long as you let us go, we will never ask anyone to trouble you again in the future. We don't even dare." Xialuo said coldly. "Don't you understand me? I want you to find someone to come and trouble me right now." Several men were immediately speechless, but now they can see that this man is really confident. "We are not afraid of how many accomplices they have and what kind of strength they have." But the man who just spoke said with a frustrated face, "Brother, our team doesn't have a walkie-talkie at all, and we have no way to notify other people now." Another man continued, "Brother, if you really want to go to our boss and ask for an explanation, our headquarters is not far from here. It only takes about 10 minutes to walk there. How about we take you there?" Although this man is very afraid of the evil dog, he even wants to take Xialuo to their lair and let Brother Hu and his brothers avenge him. Of course, if Brother Tiger and his brothers are not opponents, then someone will accompany him to suffer together, and he will feel better too. However, I heard that this team didn't even have a walkie-talkie. Xialuo suddenly lost interest. If the rest of them could take the initiative to die, then Xialuo wouldn't mind wiping out all the people in this team who let them provoke themselves. But since it is so troublesome now, Xialuo is too lazy to spend too much time troublesome them, because there is no big need. They are just a bunch of clowns. Although Xialuo and this team have formed a feud this time, everyone may never see each other again, so Xialuo does not necessarily have to kill all the people in this team. So Xialuo greeted Alice and the others, and then walked out of the industrial area, watching Xialuo and others suddenly leave. And they left very cleanly. The men lying on the ground were all stunned. "What's going on? Didn't we just deal with their entire team? Didn't we go to their lair? Why did you just leave?" It wasn't until Xialuo, the others, and the big dog disappeared from their sight that the men completely believed that those people seemed to have really left. "FK, is that man bluffing? In fact, he doesn't dare to follow us back at all. That shouldn't be right. That dog is a monster. As long as that dog is around, won't he just kill whoever he wants?" Not sure, maybe that dog took some genetic medicine to become so powerful, but that kind of medicine usually has a time limit. So after hearing that our people couldn't come over immediately, the man didn't dare to delay its time. It is indeed possible, but no matter what, we all survived. I was really afraid that the man would let the dog bite us all to death before he left. Haha, did you survive? Our leg bones are all broken, and we will be disabled from now on. When we go back, Brother Hu and the others will raise us as useless people. Suddenly, several men on the ground were silent and desperate. Chapter 367 Happiness Shelter's attitude towards Xialuo. After Xialuo and Alice left the industrial park, they all got into the car. Xialuo started the car and drove towards the happy shelter. When they went back, Xialuo and the others were in a completely different mood than when they came here. They were all very happy. Naturally, Charlotte Lee and Alice were in a very good mood because they had harvested a big meteorite, and when I go back, this trip will be considered a complete success. As for Lin Meng, it goes without saying that the smile on his face cannot be hidden. After all, her brother's legs were broken by a group of construction workers in that industrial area before those people's legs were bitten off by the big black dog just now. which made her feel relieved, and now that the big meteorite has been found, maybe she and her brother can survive. It didn't take long for Xialuo's car to arrive near the gate of the Happiness Asylum again, at this time, in the guard room of Happy Shelter. Several guards belonging to Happy Shelter were discussing enthusiastically what had just happened in their shelter. "Captain, you didn't see it with your own eyes. That dog was really scary. I saw the bullet hit it with my own eyes, but it didn't even leave a mark on it." "What are you talking about? Captain, you didn't see that?" Xialuo just waved his hand, and more than a dozen cars, as well as a lot of food, guns and ammunition appeared out of thin air. Those were all big items. It was surreal at that time. I was dumbfounded. Who says it isn't? This apocalypse is really getting crazier and crazier. We should all be lucky that Xialuo just drove his car through the railing and broke into our shelter. He didn't have the same experience as us. Otherwise, he would be the first to be killed by the group. Maybe it's not the people from the Wild Wolf group, but those of us guarding the gate. Damn, it's true. It was really dangerous before. I thought we didn't have to go out and take risks by guarding the gate, but now it seems that guarding the gate may not be safe. Okay, shut up and stop talking about these things. Director Wang and the team leader have given orders not to discuss Mr. Xialuo's affairs at will in the future. Also, Mr. Li should probably come back again. When he comes back, if all of us see him again, we must remain extremely respectful. The team leader in the guard room interrupted the discussion of several team members with a serious look, although he did not see what happened inside the shelter with his own eyes. After Xialuo drove away from the Happy Shelter, several senior executives of their shelter immediately ran to the gate in person to explain to him. Of course, there are two main reasons why the senior executives of the shelter came here in person. First, we want to throw all the corpses of the Wild Wolf group outside the shelter for disposal, so as not to breed diseases inside the shelter. Secondly, they felt that it was not enough to use the intercom to notify the guards at the door not to provoke Xialuo anymore. They had to come in person and explain to all the guards again. From now on, all guards at the gate must show enough respect whenever they see Xialuo's car or person. For people with superpowers like Xialuo, the top management of the shelter would not dare to turn against Xialuo until they knew who Xialuo and the others were. Otherwise, their good days will definitely come to an end. So in order not to offend Xialuo anymore, several senior executives in the shelter personally ran to everyone and told them in the harshest terms not to provoke or neglect Xialuo again. In fact, there is no need for the senior management of the shelter to specifically explain it, and the guards at the gate are not stupid. How can they take the initiative to seek death on their own? The reason why these guards were arrogant before was because their shelter was so powerful that they had no opponents around them. As the official armed force of the shelter, they almost represent the entire shelter, so they naturally have the capital to be arrogant. But now, even the top management of the shelter can't resist, so they will definitely not stand up. Captain, don't be so serious. If that Xialuo comes back, we will definitely treat him respectfully. We haven't had enough. Everyone is just curious and want to know more about the situation at that time. We just have a casual chat. That's right, we just chatted casually and didn't say anything bad about Mr. Li and those people. Even if they heard us, it wouldn't be a big deal, right? The squad leader snorted coldly. Are you really stupid, or are you pretending to be stupid? You haven't understood what I mean, haven't you? The reason why the top management issued a hush-hush order not to talk about that Xialuo is not only to prevent you from talking too much, but also because they are afraid that Xialuo will anger him if he hears it. The other reason is not to let you talk too much. Captain, it's the end of the world. Why are the higher-ups at the shelter trying to do this to us? Why should we say anything and they still have to worry about it? Captain, tell me, is our shelter going to change? No way? You mean that Xialuo will seize power by then? What's wrong with this? It will be easy for Xialuo to seize power, right? Then, what should we do? Will all of us be purged by then? Damn it, I already told you not to talk about these things, and you still want to talk about it, right? The squad leader shouted, with anger on his face. Seeing that the team leader was really angry, everyone quickly stopped talking, but there were different expressions on their faces. At this moment, a guard suddenly stammered, "Squad Captain, the car, it's that car." When they heard it was that car, the guards at the gate were startled, and then quickly looked into the distance. Sure enough, it was the off-road vehicle that they remembered so vividly, that Mr. Li's car. As for why they could recognize Xialuo's car from afar, It was very simple because Li Xiaoluo's car is very special. Not only is the car very domineering, but it is also a brand they have never seen before. Therefore, even if they saw Li Charlotte's car before the end of the world, they would be deeply impressed if they saw it once. What's more, it's still the end of the world, and there are no other cars except Li Xiaoluo's car. Xiao. Li and Xiao Zhang, hurry up and lift the railing at the door for me. Then, everyone else quickly went to stand outside with me. When Mr. Li's car passed by, everyone smiled and saluted me. Chapter 368 Li Xiaoluo fulfills his promise. When Li Xiaoluo's car returned to Happiness Shelter, everyone in the shelter became extremely nervous. Moreover, as soon as his car entered the gate of the shelter, everyone in the shelter knew about it. Li Xiaoluo drove the car to the small square again, but when Li Xiaoluo and the others got out of the car, they found that the ground had been cleaned. Seeing Li Xiaoluo get out of the car, Wang Jianfu hurriedly came up with several senior executives of the shelter. Mr. Li, is everything going well for you? Li Xiaoluo nodded, which was considered a response. Wang Jianfu didn't care about Li Xiaoluo's attitude. He smiled and said, "Indeed, Mr. Li, you have taken action personally. There is definitely nothing that can trouble you. By the way, the other people you sent out, Mr. Li, may not be back soon. Mr. Li, you can't just wait here. Why don't Mr. Li and your wife go with us to have something to eat first? We will protect you, although we are very poor. Mr. Li, you are a distinguished guest, and we will always do our best to treat you as a landlord." Li Xiaoluo glanced at Wang Jianfu, who had a humble attitude. If Li Xiaoluo had not shown his strength before, with the strength of this happy shelter and Wang Jianfu's identity before the end of the world, Wang Jianfu would definitely not be so condescending to anyone. Exclamation mark. But in this doomsday world, having great strength means you can do whatever you want, although there are still some loyal people under Wang Jianfu, no matter how many they have. They seem to be vulnerable to Li Xiaoluo. Moreover, Wang Jianfu and the others now have no official backing, so they no longer have any confidence, and Li Xiaoluo also heard it. This Wang Jianfu said so much, but the main purpose was to convey the meaning of the last sentence. Charlotte Li is a distinguished guest, and they are the owners of this shelter. This is testing Li Xiaoluo. However, Li Xiaoluo has no interest in the power game in this shelter at all. If he takes over this shelter, he will have to solve the problem of thousands of people here eating, drinking and urinating. Li Xiaoluo has no interest in doing such a thing, but like the previous 3 bases, Li Xiaoluo also wants to build a teleportation array here. Li Xiaoluo waved his hand to Wang Jianfu, and then said directly, "Director Wang, there is no need to eat, but I need you to find me a house that no one lives in. And that house will be owned by me in the future, and no one can enter privately." Wang Jianfu's face froze and he almost blurted out, "Mr. Li, do you plan to stay in our shelter permanently?" After finishing speaking, I may feel that I asked a bit deliberately. Wang Jianfu quickly explained, "Mr. Li, what I mean is, do you plan to stay in our shelter for a long time, or just temporarily for a few days? This way I can have someone arrange a suitable house for you based on the specific situation and the environment of the accommodation." Li Xiaoluo said impatiently, "My request is very simple. As long as no one lives in that building, you don't need to do anything else. I'm not here to live. That building is equivalent to my residence in your shelter. Do you understand what I mean?" "I understand. Don't worry, Mr. Li. Many of our buildings here are unoccupied. You can choose whatever you want, Mr. Li." Wang Jianfu's face showed joy. He didn't understand what Li Xiaoluo said, since Li Xiaoluo said that the house is not for living in, but just looking for a building as a residence. It means that Li Xiaoluo has no intention of getting involved in their shelter. The so-called residence should be like the consulates of other countries in China before the end. Although Li Xiaoluo did not completely leave their shelter after finding the meteorite he needed, he wanted to set up a station in their shelter. But as long as Li Xiaoluo has no intention of getting involved in their shelter, Wang Jianfu feels that this is good news. As for whether Li Xiaoluo was lying to them, was he using his residence as an excuse first, and then trying to seize their shelter? Wang Jianfu felt that this possibility was unlikely, because in the face of absolute strength, there was no need to play any tricks. If Li Xiaoluo really wants to seize the power of their sanctuary, as long as Li Xiaoluo says a word, not many of Wang Jianfu's men will have the courage to stand up and resist, because facing ordinary thugs in the apocalypse, The guards of the shelter naturally have the courage to resist, but facing a Superman like Xialuo, especially the big black dog, they really don't have the courage to resist. Then, Wang Jianfu planned to personally take Xialuo to choose a resident. In fact, Xialuo doesn't have any requirements for the location. Just any building that can build a teleportation array will be enough. Xialuo was about to follow Wang Jianfu, but suddenly he saw Lin Mengmeng, who was looking at him eagerly, and then seemed hesitant to speak. Only then did Xialuo remember that the reward he promised her had not yet been given to her. Although Xialuo sometimes does not keep his words, he is always targeting some thugs or people who are hostile to Xialuo. Under normal circumstances, Xialuo considers himself a person who keeps his word, so Xialuo waved to Lin Mengmeng and said, "Lin Mengmeng, call your brother here too." Lin Mengmeng's face lit up with joy. She thought Xialuo was going to treat her brother's leg now. Lin Mengmeng quickly ran towards her brother. Wang Jianfu winked at his men, and two men immediately went over to help, and then lifted Lin Xiaoyi to Xialuo. Then, hundreds of people in the entire shelter stared at Xialuo. They also wanted to see if Xialuo had a more magical ability that could directly heal Lin Xiaoyi's broken leg. But they will be disappointed, because although Xialuo has many powers, he really doesn't have any healing powers right now. Therefore, the treatment for Lin Xiaoyi's broken leg is not now, nor is Xialuo treating him. When the brothers and sisters Lin Mengmeng and Lin Xiaoyi came to Xialuo thought, and a lot of things appeared next to the brothers and sisters. There are 500 kilograms of grain here, as well as 2 guns and 20 bullets. These are the rewards I promised you before, and now I have given them to you. As for what you do with these things, and whether you can protect them in the future, that's up to you. It's your own business. Lin Xiaoyi's face showed surprise when he saw the guns and food that suddenly appeared, so his sister finally didn't have to go hungry. But Lin Mengmeng's face didn't look too excited. She glanced at Xialuo timidly, and then summoned up the courage to say, "Brother Li." "Then my brother's legs, Li." Xialuo knew what she wanted to ask and said directly, "Don't worry, since I have given you these supplies, it means that I will not break my promise. I will also help heal your brother's leg. But it is not me who will heal your brother, so you still need to wait a moment. I will bring over the person who will treat your brother's leg." Lin Mengmeng finally had a smile on her face and said quickly, "I understand, thank you, Brother Li." Chapter 369 The City Wall of Taoyuan. Xialuo found a random building in the happiness shelter, built a teleportation array, and then returned to the headquarters of Taoyuan leader through the teleportation array. As soon as he returned to the territory of Taoyuan territory, Xialuo saw a big change in his territory. The most important change naturally belongs to the majestic city wall on the outermost edge of the territory. The city wall is almost 8 meters high and at least 3 meters wide, enough for cars to drive on it. In addition, there are no traces of brick repairs on the city wall, as if everything is natural. This city wall has been winding along the perimeter of the entire Longting Villa area, guarding the territory of Taoyuan territory like a giant dragon. Xialuo did not expect that Shen Miao and the others were so fast that they were almost ready to build the city wall. Of course, the construction of this city wall was definitely not mainly due to Shen Miao. The main ones are Qin Xianglin's earth power, Su Yan's metal power, and Gulai Rena's space power. They are the protagonists. After all, everyone has their own strengths and their abilities. The abilities of these women can be used to build city walls. Xialuo checked through the drone. Shen Miao and the others were at the city wall in the southwest of the villa area. There was still a small section of the city wall still under construction. They all gathered there, on the one hand to watch the excitement, and on the other hand to escort Qin Xianglin and the others who were building the wall. After all, although Shen Miao can't get involved in building the city wall, in terms of combat effectiveness, she is a professional. Xialuo teleported and appeared in front of the girls. Brother, Charlotte, brother-in-law, husband, all. The girls were very happy to see Xialuo back. Xialuo nodded to the girls and said with a smile, "Yes, this city wall is very well built. You have all worked hard. But everyone still has to work harder today. The city wall must be completely completed today. The Longting Villa area is large and very empty, and there are no buildings like walls here. If the city wall is not built today, then if a large number of monsters appear tomorrow, the Longting Villa area will definitely be destroyed. That's why Xialuo requested that the city wall here must be repaired today. As for the sub-territory, Wutanggyun community already has walls. As long as a few gates are blocked, there will be no trouble for the time being, so it's not too urgent for the sub-territory. Shen Miaomio introduced to Li Xialuo, brother Xialuo. It's mainly Qin Xianglin, Su Yan, and Gulai Arena who are working hard, and we are just taking the lead. Besides, don't worry, their abilities have all been upgraded to level 2. Plus, Guli's Hina is on hand to transport building materials to them, so the city wall can be built very quickly. Basically, it can be completed by the time it's too late. Then when the city wall on our side is built, I will ask Qin Xianglin and the others to go to the sub-territory immediately and build it there as well. On the sub-territory, we only need to encircle a few gates first so that everyone can ensure safety first. So it will take very little time, and it can be built tonight. Li Xialuo smiled and nodded. Miaomio, you are indeed my good wife, you have done a good job, Shen. Miaomio was a little embarrassed to be praised by Li Xialuo, and her face turned slightly red. However, Li Xialuo had no intention of continuing to tease her, and changed the topic and asked, Miaomio, have the 5 female soldiers we sent to other cities come back? Naturally, Li Xialuo would not worry about the female soldiers sent out to search for meteorites in this city. Even if the female soldiers in this city encountered any danger, at most some of them would be injured. With their powerful firepower, it can be said that there is basically no force in this city that can defeat them. Even if they are unlucky and encounter a danger that they cannot solve, the female soldiers on duty in the city can still ask Shen Miaomio and the others for help. After all, this city is Li Xialuo's base camp, and as early as during the flood, those female soldier teams that were sent to other cities by Li Xialuo in advance would have no way to call for help if they encountered danger, because when Li Xialuo sent them out, Li Xialuo's system store had not yet been upgraded. So naturally they were not equipped with super wireless intercoms. If they encountered danger, they will naturally have no way to contact Taoyuan leader. That's why Li Xialuo was the first to ask about the situation of the 5 female soldiers. After all, Li Xialuo's original order to them was to get back before today. Although Li Xialuo gave them a lot of weapons and equipment, even Li Xialuo could not guarantee that all the female soldiers sent out would come back smoothly. Shen Miaomio replied, Brother Xialuo, of the 5 female soldier teams sent out, 2 teams came back at noon today, and then another team came back in the afternoon. Now, there are still 2 teams that haven't come back. But Brother Xialuo, don't worry, it's still early before dark. Maybe they are already on their way back. Li Xialuo nodded. He had nothing to worry about, and 3 teams have returned, which means that Li Xialuo's hard work has not been in vain. Li Xialuo said casually, the 3 teams that came back, how many meteorites did they find in total? Shen Miaomio said, the second female soldiers team found 56 meteorites, the third female soldiers team found 62 meteorites, and the 5th female soldiers team found 49 meteorites. Together, the 3 teams found a total of 167 meteorites. A meteorite. When Li Xialuo heard this, he felt very good immediately. It was also a big crystal income. Yes, there are quite a few found. When the time comes, you can give them some rewards according to the number of meteorites found by each team. It can be seen that the 3 female soldiers who have returned now must have worked very hard to find meteorites, but the number of meteorites in each city must be different, and their luck must be different, so the numbersome differences are normal. Since the harvest is not small, Li Xialuo naturally wants to reward them. Shen Miaomio responded softly, indicating that she understood. After thinking for a while, Li Xialuo explained to Shen Miaomio, these female soldiers who went to other cities to look for meteorites, I promised them when I sent them out that as long as they can bring back meteorites, they can join the Taoyuan leader and become official members of the Taoyuan leader. Therefore, as long as these female soldiers who have returned are willing to stay, you can arrange for them to officially join our Taoyuan territory. Of course, if anyone has other ideas and is unwilling to stay, then we won't force it. In fact, what Li Xialuo said later is superfluous. Those women have trained hard for so long and rush back after all the hardships. Isn't it just to join the Taoyuan leader? After explaining some things to Shen Miaomio, Li Xialuo took Qin Yumei and teleported to the Happiness Asylum. Chapter 370, Cured? When was the problem cured? This is Qin Yumei's first time experiencing the teleportation array. Of course, Qin Yumei is also a superpower now, so she has nothing to fuss about the teleportation array. In fact, compared to the teleportation array, this happy sanctuary attracts Qin Yumei's curiosity more. There is no way, After all, Ken Yumei and the others have been staying in Longting Villa since the beginning of the apocalypse, and have basically never left the villa area, so Ken Yumei is still quite curious. She doesn't know what the city outside is like now and what the survivors outside are like, and when she came out of the building and arrived at a small square of the happy shelter, the first thing Ken Yumei saw was naturally the refugees lying on the ground like walking corpses. There were both men and women among those refugees, and each of them was basically as skinny as a stick, and then they were all dirty, lying on a dirty sheet or clothes. Is this the world outside Taoyuan? Is this the real life of ordinary survivors in the apocalypse? At this moment, Ken Yumei looked at Li Xiaoluo with eyes full of tenderness. She was really lucky that she could meet Li Xiaoluo, otherwise she might have been a pile of skeletons. Or she might have been like these people now. And after seeing Li Xiaoluo coming out of that building, there was a beautiful woman next to him. Wang Jianfu and the others suddenly felt that their brains were running out, because Wang Jianfu and the others saw Li Xiaoluo enter that building alone. How come there was a top-notch beauty next to him when he came out? That building is the side of their happy sanctuary. Wang Jianfu can be 10,000 certain that there was absolutely no one in that building before, so how did this woman suddenly appear? Could it be that Li Charlotte can not only conjure things like cars and food out of thin air, but also conjure people out of thin air? Anyway, everyone feels that Li Xiaoluo is becoming more and more mysterious, and the eyes looking at Li Xiaoluo are full of awe. In particular, several senior executives of Happy Sanctuary have made up their minds again. They must be more humble to Li Xiaoluo and must not offend him. Sister Yumei, you are here. Seeing Ken Yumei coming with Li Xiaoluo, Alice immediately stepped forward and said, "Hello, Alice, you have worked hard these days." Ken Yumei also held Alice's hand and said with concern, "After all, it must be much harder for Li Xiaoluo and Alice to travel around these days, dining and sleeping outside than staying in Taoyuan." Alice showed an angelic smile. "It's not hard, actually it's quite fun to walk around outside. And I'm very happy to be with my dear Ken Yumei." Well, facing Alice's frankness, Ken Yumei didn't know what to say, but what Alice said is actually the truth. Even though she has been running around with Li Xiaoluo these days, it can be regarded as sleeping in the open air, but Alice felt quite happy. It's quite enjoyable too, because Li Xiaoluo is simply a mobile supermarket. You can get whatever you want, so the food and accommodation there are no worse than those in Taoyuan. Along the way, she felt like she was traveling. Of course, we are traveling during the day, and we also have to do something we love to do at night, and with Li Xiaoluo and her strength, basically no one can hurt them now, so Alice and Charlotte Li don't have to worry about encountering danger outside. This way, Alice will feel less stressed. Every time she goes to a city, she can just look at the scenery and have fun. She really didn't feel any hardship along the way, only happiness. "Okay, let's not talk about this for now. I asked you to come here just to heal his leg." Li Xiaoluo interrupted the chat between Ken Yumei and Alice, then pointed at Lin Xiaoyi lying on the ground and said to Ken Yumei, "In fact, if it were normal times, Li Xiaoluo might not be so kind and would personally bring Ken Yumei over to treat Lin Xiaoyi's leg. Normally, even if Li Xiaoluo agreed to treat Lin Xiaoyi, he could just give him some medicine directly, which would be considered as being benevolent and righteous. As for whether they can cure the disease, that is their own luck." However, what Lin Xiaoyi brother and sister brought to Li Xiaoluo was a large meteorite, and the location of the meteorite was relatively remote. The team Li Xiaoluo sent out to search for the meteorite might not be able to find it, so Li Xiaoluo really has to thank the Lin Xiaoyi brothers and sisters for bringing Ken Yumei over to treat Lin Xiaoyi's leg. Li Xiaoluo never likes to owe others favors. "Well, I'll treat him now." Ken Yumei nodded without asking anything. She would naturally do whatever Li Xiaoluo asked her to do. Then Ken Yumei walked up to Lin Xiaoyi. Lin Xiaoyi was a little afraid to look at the radiant Ken Yumei, but Lin Mengmeng, who was beside Lin Xiaoyi, looked at Ken Yumei with joy on her face. "Beautiful sister, are you the doctor that brother Li hired to treat my brother's leg?" Ken Yumei glanced at the thin Lin Mengmeng and saw that she was a little girl. A charming smile suddenly appeared on her face, and then she nodded. "Yes, I am the doctor who came to treat your brother's leg." If it were before, Ken Yumei would not have dared to say that she was a doctor, because she was a nurse before the end. Although she was engaged in the work of treating diseases and saving people, she was definitely not a doctor. However, after acquiring the superpower, especially after her superpower level was upgraded to level 2, Ken Yumei can now confidently say that she is a doctor. Even now, She has nothing wrong with saying that she is a miracle doctor, because now, as long as people are not dead, she can save them all. Even some terminal diseases can be cured by her, so there is nothing wrong with being called a miracle doctor. Lin Mengmeng said quickly. Thank you, the beautiful doctor sister, for treating my brother. Beautiful doctor sister, do you need to take my brother to another place for treatment? It was no wonder that Lin Mengmeng would ask this, because she saw that Qin Yumi came empty-handed and did not have any medical equipment on her. It seemed that there was no way to treat her here. Qin Yumi smiled at Lin Mengmeng and shook her head. No need to bother, I will treat your brother right here, and it will be fast. After saying that, Qin Yumi ignored Lin Mengmeng's question-marked expression, and then used the healing technique directly on Lin Xiaoyi. A faint white light shot into Lin Xiaoyi's legs, and then Lin Xiaoyi felt that his legs began to heat up, and then he felt itchy and painful. Lin Mengmeng was still looking at Qin Yumi eagerly. She was waiting for the beautiful doctor sister to treat her brother's leg, but it just took a while. Qin Yumi said, okay, your brother has been cured, this time. Lin Mengmeng's question mark face is even more obvious. Cured? When was the problem treated? Chapter 371. This is simply a miracle. In fact, not only Lin Mengmeng's face was filled with questions, but even Wen Jianfu and the others on the side also had expressions of disbelief. Can a person whose legs are broken be cured? The problem is, this beautiful woman who suddenly appeared didn't seem to even get close to take a look at the injured person. Right, many onlookers even murmured in their hearts, maybe this woman is here to make a joke. However, just when everyone was confused and afraid to speak, Lin Xiaoyi, who was lying on the ground, suddenly stood up slowly from the ground. Suddenly, Lin Mengmeng looked at her brother in disbelief, and everyone at the scene looked at Lin Xiaoyi in disbelief. Lin Xiaoyi has spent a lot of time in their happiness shelter, so most people at the scene are very aware of the injuries to his two legs. The bones of Lin Xiaoyi's two legs were directly broken by someone. The injuries were very serious. They could be said to be comminuted fractures. Even the bones in the flesh could be seen. This kind of comminuted fracture may not be cured even if it is surgically treated in a big hospital before the end of the world, and even if it can be cured, it will definitely take a long time to recover even if it takes 100 days to break the muscles and bones. But what do they see now? A person who had both of his legs broken was cured in the blink of an eye and could stand up and walk immediately. This is simply a miracle. But soon, everyone who was shocked at the scene woke up again. In fact, they have seen many miracles today, such as the big dog that is only invulnerable, and Li Xiaoluo who can take out a lot of things out of thin air. Logically speaking, they should have been mentally prepared, but now, they are still shocked. Because of Qin Yumi's healing power, it seems that the shock to them will be even greater. Maybe many people subconsciously feel that they will get sick or injured in the future, so while they were actually shocked, they were even more envious. It would be great if there was someone in their shelter who knew this magical healing technique, but they overthink it. There are very few people with supernatural talents, not to mention that they also specify people with healing powers. That's great, brother, your legs are really healed. We don't have to be bullied anymore in the future. Lin Mengmeng hugged her brother, and the two siblings cried with joy. After the two of them calmed down, Lin Xiaoyi walked up to Qin Yumi and knelt down with a plop. Doctor, thank you for healing my leg. When Lin Mengmeng saw her brother kneeling down, she quickly knelt down on the ground too. Beautiful doctor sister, thank you very much for saving my brother. Qin Yumi quickly waved her hand. You all get up, and you don't have to thank me. Qin Yumi felt a little unnatural when she saw the two brothers and sisters suddenly kneeling down to her. After all, although their Taoyuan leaders also had class distinctions, they didn't have to kneel down. When Lin Xiaoyi and Lin Mengmeng heard Qin Yumi's words, they immediately understood what Qin Yumi meant. She also listened to Li Xiaoluo's words before treating Lin Xiaoyi's leg. Lin Xiaoyi naturally understood this, so after standing up, he walked to Li Xiaoluo again, wanting to kneel down and thank Li Xiaoluo. After all, this was a life-saving grace, and it could even be said to have saved the two brothers and sisters. In this end of the world, he has no wealth, so he can only express his gratitude in this way. But Li Xiaoluo stopped Lin Xiaoyi who wanted to kneel down. You don't need to thank me. This is a deal that was negotiated when your sister took me to find meteorites. I'm not treating you for free, so there's nothing to thank you for. Although Li Xiaoluo was right, treating his leg was indeed a deal they had negotiated before. However, Lin Xiaoyi did not expect that the treatment Li Xiaoluo mentioned would actually completely cure his leg. Moreover, his sister had led the way, and Li Xiaoluo had already given them food and weapons, and now she was healing his leg. Lin Xiaoyi felt that this was no longer a reciprocal transaction, but that they had accepted Li Xiaoluo's immense kindness. Lin Xiaoyi thought for a while, and then said, "Mr. Li, you need something from the meteorite, then I will go out to find the meteorite for you tomorrow." After hearing Lin Xiaoyi's words, Li Xiaoluo hadn't spoken yet when Jianfu on the side suddenly followed suit and said, "Mr. Li, if you still need manpower to search for meteorites, I actually have a lot of people under me. I can also arrange for them to go out to search for meteorites in the city tomorrow. If the search is finished in the city, I can also let them look further afield. Moreover, my people already have some weapons in their hands, so I don't need Mr. Li to provide any more guns. I will only need Mr. Li to provide a few vehicles." Previously, when Li Xiaoluo recruited people to go out to look for meteorites, he did not name Wang Jianfu, and Wang Jianfu and the others did not take the initiative to do things for Li Xiaoluo, because they were afraid that once they took the initiative to do things for Li Xiaoluo, the shelter would have to change its name. But now, Wang Jianfu has changed his mind. Judging from the abilities displayed by Li Xiaoluo, people like Li Xiaoluo are really too mysterious and powerful. If Li Xiaoluo really wants this shelter, then no matter how careful Wang Jianfu is, it seems to have no effect in the end, as long as Li Xiaoluo says a word. He may obediently hand over the power in his hands, so since worrying is useless, it's better to just lie down. Wang Jianfu now wants to do things for Li Xiaoluo. In addition to wanting to take the initiative to make friends with Li Xiaoluo further, the other reason is also because of Qin Yumi's magical healing skills. The rewards that Li Xiaoluo promised when recruiting people were just some food or ordinary medicines. For the large number of refugees in the Happy Shelter, these things are life-saving things and a huge temptation, but for those with vested interests in the Happy Sanctuary, the temptation of ordinary food and medicine is only so great, because they also have some on hand. But now, a miracle doctor suddenly appears, which greatly increases their temptation, because in the apocalypse, injuries and illnesses happen too easily, and no one knows whether an accident will happen to them tomorrow. So if they only need to go out to look for meteorites for Li Xiaoluo, and then get treatment from Qin Yumi, it will be equivalent to having an extra guarantee of survival for them in the future. In short, now not only are they not afraid of Li Xiaoluo seizing power, but they also hope that Li Xiaoluo can stay in their shelter with Qin Yumi. However, Wang Jianfu and others obviously thought too much, not to mention staying here. Li Xiaoluo doesn't even need them to do things for him. Li Xiaoluo looked at Lin Xiaoyi and Wang Jianfu and said, "If you want to go out to look for meteorites, let's wait until you have the courage to go out tomorrow." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 Beautiful Woman Su Yun. After treating Lin Xiaoyi's leg, those people sent by Li Xiaoluo to look for meteorites at Happiness Sanctuary may not come back for several hours, so Li Xiaoluo has no intention of waiting at Happiness Sanctuary. Li Xiaoluo took Alice, Qin Yumi and the others and took the teleportation array back to the Taoyuan leader headquarters. Anyway, Li Xiaoluo gave them a super walkie-talkie. When they come back, they will naturally contact Li Xiaoluo. When the time comes, Li Xiaoluo will just go there. Li Charlotte and Alice returned to Villa Number 1 in Longting and sat on the comfortable sofa. Li Charlotte sighed that it was still more comfortable at home. Although Li Charlotte and Alice went out these days, Li Charlotte and Alice did not suffer at all. They ate well and slept comfortably every day. It can even be said that even the general's food is better than what most human survivors eat in this doomsday. But Li Xiaoluo actually has a lazy temperament and will never stand up if he can lie down. He keeps running around these days, which is really hard for him. But now, the plan he made before has basically been completed. Even if I have to go to other cities in the future, it won't be so urgent, because I can't rush it. Even later, Li Xiaoluo still hadn't decided whether to continue going to other cities. There are two main reasons why Li Xiaoluo has not decided whether to continue going to other cities. First of all, Li Xiaoluo knew that starting from tomorrow, a large number of monsters would appear when Li Xiaoluo wants to go to other cities. It will not be so easy at all even if Li Xiaoluo has a bulletproof car. If he encounters a large group of monsters, it will make it difficult for Li Xiaoluo to move even if his life is in danger. Secondly, even if Li Charlotte can successfully go to other cities, it will be difficult for Li Charlotte to find someone to search for media rights for him, because there will be dangers everywhere in the city. How can ordinary survivors dare to run around the whole city, even if Li Xiaoluo gives them food, medicine and other rewards, and even gives them some guns? They may all lose their lives. This was also the time when we were at Happiness Shelter just now. Lin Xiaoyi said that he would go out to look for media rights for Li Xiaoluo tomorrow. Even the director Wang Jianfu wanted to please Li Xiaoluo and sent his men to go further to look for media rights for Li Xiaoluo. However, Li Xiaoluo did not agree to them at that time. He just said that he would wait until they still have the courage to go out tomorrow, because there will be monsters everywhere in the city tomorrow, and those monsters are not ordinary survivors. How many people will still have the courage to run around in the city, not to mention going further? If they really have the courage to go out, then Li Xiaoluo will definitely not stop them even if they find a meteorite in the future. No matter who finds it, Li Xiaoluo can buy it at a high price. It's a pity that not many people dare to go out. By the same token, even if Li Xiaoluo goes to other cities later, he will not be able to hire many ordinary survivors to search for meteorites for him. At that time, it would be too troublesome if Li Xiaoluo was allowed to search for meteorites throughout the city. Therefore, considering the above two reasons, Li Xiaoluo did not think about whether he would continue to go to other cities in the future, but Li Xiaoluo is not in a hurry. After being busy for so many days, today is definitely the most rewarding day. Let's wait until today to get all the harvest, and then take a rest in Taoyuan Collar. Then we will decide the next action based on the situation. After Alice and Qin Yumi came back with them, Li Xiaoluo no longer needed them to accompany them to the Happiness Shelter, so they all went to Shenmaiomio to participate in the construction of the city wall. After the general came back, he also ran to visit his 3 pups who were brought here. Li Xiaoluo was too lazy to go out, so she lay on the sofa and played with her mobile phone comfortably. After playing for a while, Li Xiaoluo called the maids and asked them to cut a fruit platter and serve it. "Lord, this is the fruit platter you want." Soon, a pleasant voice sounded in Li Xiaoluo's ears. Li Xiaoluo, who was playing with his mobile phone, looked up. And then a trace of passion flashed in his eyes. "Are you that Suyun?" Li Xiaoluo looked at the woman in front of her who looked to be in her 30s. Although her appearance was not as good as Shenmaiomio, who could reach 99 points, she was still a beauty exceeding 90 points. What is more attractive to men is her beautiful mature woman's temperament and her plump and graceful figure. Especially for some men who like older beautiful women, the woman in front of them is definitely the best. Although Li Xiaoluo has no interest in women older than him, he doesn't mind as long as they are beautiful. The Suyun in front of him, Li Xiaoluo remembered, was the aunt of Bai Jing, the leader of base number 3. At that time, Li Xiaoluo felt that she was very attractive to men and could make them feel impulsive. But at that time, Li Xiaoluo was only thinking about a meteorite and had no time to think about anything else. In addition, at that time, the women outside were somewhat dirty and smelly, even women like Suyun, so Li Xiaoluo didn't have much interest. However, Li Xiaoluo did not expect that Suyun would be placed in villain number 1 by Shenmaiomio, and after washing, she looks even more radiant and charming. Suyun placed the fruit platter on the coffee table, then smiled and nodded at Li Xiaoluo. "Yes, I am Suyun. After you wash up, you've changed a lot. By the way, what job are you assigned to do now?" Su-Yun quickly replied, "I was arranged by Mrs. Maiomio to work as a maid in the villa. I occasionally go to the kitchen to help out." Li Xiaoluo glanced at Su-Yun and suddenly said, "You want to be a maid in life, right? Then come here and give me a massage." As soon as Su-Yun heard Li Xiaoluo's request, her face immediately turned red. She did not expect that Li Xiaoluo would suddenly make such a request. She had really never done such a thing. "Why, you don't want to?" Li Xiaoluo looked at Su-Yun, with no expression on his face. Su-Yun blushed and shook her head. No, I told you yesterday in the sister group that as long as you save the people in our sister group, you can do whatever you want to me in the future, as long as you don't mind my age." I just haven't massaged a man before, so I don't know how to do it, and, can I go into the bedroom? I'm not used to being seen." Li Xiaoluo glanced at Su-Yun in surprise. It seemed that this woman had not been hurt by men after the apocalypse, and she still maintained her pre-apocalyptic arrogance, and he just asked her to press it casually to relieve her fatigue. What couldn't be seen? Could it be that she was thinking of a full massage? Suddenly, Li Xiaoluo's heart became hot again. If it weren't for the fact that he still had a lot of things to deal with later, Li Xiaoluo was planning to make a mistake and enjoy a massage that she was not suitable for in public places. Chapter 373 The man looking for the meteorite is back. However, forget about that special service now. Li Xiaoluo doesn't have time now. However, what Su Yun said just now reminded Li Xiaoluo of something. Li Xiaoluo almost forgot that Su Yun was not only a hostage, but she was also sold to him. Therefore, it seems that there is really no need for him to be too polite to her. He can just do whatever he wants to her. This is his right. Thinking of this, Li Xiaoluo didn't act cowardly and directly pulled Su Yun into his arms. Yes, Su Yun was frightened by Li Xiaoluo's sudden move and screamed. Then her plump buttocks sat on Li Xiaoluo's lap. Li Xiaoluo only felt that Su Yun smelled really good. People say that beautiful women smell good. Although it may not be 100% correct, it basically makes sense. Another feeling of Li Xiaoluo is that Su Yun is indeed a ripe peach, and her figure is really great. Anyway, she said she was his. Although Li Xiaoluo didn't have time to really eat her up now, it was still okay to enjoy her for a little while. However, the words that came out of Li Xiaoluo's mouth were serious. Don't think too much. I heard you just said that you have never massaged anyone before, so I will give you some guidance myself. You see, if I ask you to massage me in the future, it's actually very simple. Regarding Li Xiaoluo's big hands that were causing trouble on her body, and Li Xiaoluo's euphemistic claim that he was teaching her massage, Su Yun felt angry and amused at the same time. However, it seems that she does not have the courage and reason to resist Li Xiaoluo. Therefore, Su Yun could only accept Li Xiaoluo's guidance. Soon, Su Yun's body became softer and softer, and her eyes became more and more charming, as if they were dripping water. Just when Li Xiaoluo let Su Yun sit on his lap and was enjoying the charm of Su Yun, a mature and beautiful woman. Although Li Xiaoluo did not immediately want to have a discussion with Su Yun about the continuation of human civilization, the close physical contact between the two still made Li Xiaoluo enjoy it very much. In the past, I often heard that young people who didn't know their aunts were good at making mistakes and treasured girls on the spot. Li Xiaoluo didn't have that kind of hobby among the many women he had. They were basically all young and beautiful girls at most. There were only a few who were slightly better than Li Xiaoluo, a little older young woman. As for the beautiful aunt who is much older than Li Xiaoluo, there is definitely no such thing. Su Yun is definitely the first, but in fact, Su Yun has taken good care of herself. She is almost 40 years old, but her beautiful face is as young as a 30-year-old woman. Moreover, Su Yun's elegant temperament vividly interprets the style that time has given her. Everything is so charming. However, just when Li Xiaoluo was about to take the next step, Li Xiaoluo's walkie-talkie rang. Mr. Li, I am Xialuo from Base 2. It turned out that Xialuo from Base 2 contacted Li Xiaoluo using a walkie-talkie, saying that the people from their base who went out to look for meteorites had returned. The people at their base found some more meteorites, and everyone couldn't wait for Li Xiaoluo to go there again. Then, Ding Ting Ting from base number 1 and Bai Jing from base number 2 both seemed to have made an appointment and contacted Li Xiaoluo one after another. It was said that their people were back and they wanted Li Xiaoluo to go over and receive the goods. Li Xiaoluo was not surprised. After all, the whole city will be dark at night after the apocalypse, so it is normal for those who go out to look for meteorites to come back early. Of course, they are actually people from bases number 1, 2, and 3. They have found almost all the meteorites in their cities in the past few days. Even if they continue to search, it will be difficult to find any more meteorites. The voice from Li Xiaoluo's walkie-talkie also completely woke up Su Yun, who had been intoxicated just now like a frightened white rabbit. She stood up from Li Xiaoluo's lap, and then stayed away from Li Xiaoluo, but the love on her face has still not faded away, and thinking of her investment just now, Su Yun was so embarrassed that she almost wanted to find a gap to slip in. How embarrassing. Didn't you hate men before? Moreover, she was directly pulled into Li Xiaoluo's arms just now to take advantage of her, without asking for her opinion at all. It's just like being strong. At the beginning, Su Yun was indeed a little resistant both mentally and physically, but slowly, Su Yun began to sink a little, and her body began to feel hot. In fact, only Su Yun herself knows that, despite her usual behavior of hating men and being dismissive of all men, deep down in her heart, especially in the dead of night, sometimes there is a desire in her heart. And for Li Xiaoluo, Su Yun didn't have the same aversion to other men. She didn't have the same sense of superiority in front of Li Xiaoluo as she did in front of other men. On the contrary, Su Yun felt an unprecedented sense of inferiority in front of Li Xiaoluo. In addition, she was originally Li Xiaoluo's person, so although she was treated unreasonably by Li Xiaoluo, Su Yun was not too disgusted. Maybe she was mentally prepared for it, but Su Yun herself didn't expect that. Even if she didn't resist just now, she actually took the initiative in the end. This is the reason why Su Yun is extremely shy. She feels that she is really embarrassed. What about my previous reserve? After Li Xiaoluo ended the call with the base leaders, looking at Su Yun, who looked as shy as a little girl, her body suddenly seemed to feel a little hot again, but Li Xiaoluo still suppressed his thoughts. It's still business that matters. Moreover, this kind of thing still requires sufficient time and a good atmosphere to be interesting. If you are too anxious, it will be meaningless. Su Yun, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. I'll be back tonight and look for you then. Li Xiaoluo said something to Su Yun, and then went to the teleportation array. Su Yun, who was still standing there with random thoughts, couldn't help but start thinking after hearing Li Xiaoluo's words. It's a pity that Li Xiaoluo left after saying that, without giving her a chance to speak or refuse. Moreover, she seems to have no reason to refuse. Li Xiaoluo came to Base 2 through the teleportation array. In fact, according to normal circumstances, Base 4, Happiness Sanctuary, will definitely harvest the most meteorites today, and Li Xiaoluo has been waiting for news from there, but obviously, the people sent out by Base 4 to search for meteorites have not returned yet, so since the people from Base 4 haven't come back yet, Li Xiaoluo naturally doesn't mind going to other bases first. It's better to put it in your bag first. Chapter 374. The capitalists will cry when they see it. Mr. Li, you are here. This is the golden egg inside the meteorite we found today. Please take a look. When Li Xiaoluo arrived at base number 2, Zhao Weiguo and everyone at base number 2 greeted Li Xiaoluo with smiles on their faces. If we say that at the beginning, some of them were forced to go out to look for meteorites for Li Charlotte because of Li Charlotte's power. After all, in the apocalypse, running around outside requires a lot of courage, but now, almost everyone in the base regards Li Xiaoluo as their bread and butter. It can even be said to be the savior, because the meteorites they found yesterday were actually exchanged for food and medicine from Li Xiaoluo. These things are the most precious materials in the apocalypse. When they had dinner last night, it was probably their happiest day after the apocalypse. Moreover, Li Xiaoluo also provided them with weapons, which greatly reduced the risk of them going out to look for meteorites. Therefore, it is really not an exaggeration to say that they now regard Li Xiaoluo as their savior. Li Xiaoluo took a look and found that this time Zhao Weiguo and the others got back a total of 36 golden eggs, which meant that they found 36 meteorites. In addition to the 12 meteorites they found yesterday, Base 2 contributed a total of 48 meteorites to Li Xiaoluo. This result is pretty good, although these 48 meteorites may not be all the meteorites in this city, but according to the information Li Xiaoluo knew in his previous life, 48 meteorites are already the majority of meteorites in a city. Even if there are fish that slip through the net, they may not be too many. As for the meteorites missing from the city, Li Xiaoluo had no intention of forcing them to go out and search for them, because starting from tomorrow, if ordinary people like them want to go out to look for meteorites, it may be as good as courting death. 36 pieces, a total of 3,600 points. Tell me, what kind of supplies do you want to exchange these 3,600 points for? Li Xiaoluo looked at Zhao Weiguo and everyone at base 2, and then asked. In fact, Li Xiaoluo may not need them in the future, but even if he really doesn't need them in the future, Li Xiaoluo has no idea of reneging on the debt. After all, Li Xiaoluo is not a real villain. Although he sometimes breaks his promise, he only targets those thugs, and it also depends on the situation. Li Xiaoluo and the people at base number 2 have a consensual employment relationship. Li Xiaoluo naturally won't keep his word. Of course, it was also the reward Li Xiaoluo promised them, which was nothing in Li Xiaoluo's eyes, so there is no need to renege. Mr. Li, in addition to food and medicine, we also want to exchange for some more bullets. Is that okay? Zhao Weiguo looked at Li Xiaoluo and asked cautiously. In fact, when Li Xiaoluo provided them with guns before, he also provided them with some free ammunition. However, Li Charlotte does not provide them with much free ammunition. If they go out and encounter danger and run out of bullets, they will need to spend points to redeem ammunition from Li Charlotte. And regarding the exchange of ammunition, Xialuo also strictly limits the amount they can exchange. Although ordinary bullets can't harm Xialuo won't give them too many bullets, and Xialuo didn't expect that Xialuo and the others would actually offer to exchange for more bullets. You know, the price Xialuo set for the bullets was not low. Each bullet cost 20 points. These points are enough for them to exchange for a lot of food, but Xialuo can also understand. After all, if there are no bullets in the gun, then even if they exchange a large amount of food, they may not feel safe. Seeing that Xialuo didn't speak, Xialuo quickly explained, Li, actually we want to exchange more bullets, and we have no other intention. We just see that there are fewer and fewer meteorites in the city, and it seems that they are difficult to find anymore, so we want to exchange more bullets, and then see if we can go farther away to look for meteorites tomorrow. In fact, according to Xialuo's previous thoughts, he did not want to give these people too much ammunition, just let them have 2 or 3 bullets in their hands, enough to protect themselves when they go out to look for meteorites. The reason why Xialuo didn't give them more bullets was not because Xialuo didn't have any. You must know that the crystals in Xialuo's hands are now very rich, so he can naturally buy a large number of guns and ammunition in the system store. Before, Xialuo simply didn't want the people in a few bases to have too much firepower, but now, Xialuo and his number 2 base actively want to exchange more guns and ammunition for adventure. After Xialuo thought about it, he decided to change his previous decision. From now on, an unlimited supply of weapons will be provided to each base, as long as they have points. Xialuo actually did this because he had his own ideas. First, whether it is base number 2 or several other bases, they are far away from Xialuo's Taoyuan territory, so no matter how many weapons and ammunition Xialuo gave them, it was basically impossible for them to use them to threaten Taoyuan territory. Second, the arms business was one of the most profitable businesses before the apocalypse, and it will certainly be the same after the apocalypse, at least for Charlotte. For example, the price of 1 bullet that Xialuo gave to Xialuo was 20 points. Xialuo gave Xialuo and the others 100 points for each meteorite. After all, if Xialuo and the others found a meteorite, they could only exchange it for 5 bullets. This is not a bullet, it is simply a luxury item. And how much does Xialuo earn? Let's put it this way, in the system store, an automatic rifle, with 3 magazines, only costs 10 energy points, and if you just buy bullets, 10 energy points can buy 100 bullets. Then, how many bullets can be purchased from a crystal produced by a meteorite in the system store? According to an average meteorite producing 60 crystals can be exchanged for 6,000 energy points, and then 10 energy points can buy 100 bullets. So after calculation, if all the crystals in a meteorite are used to buy bullets, a total of 60,000 bullets can be purchased. After all this calculation, Xialuo felt that he was a bit too evil. For a meteorite worth 60,000 bullets, Xialuo gave Xialuo and the others 5 bullets as reward. This is truly a huge profit. Earn more than 10,000 times with tears and blood. Even Xialuo and the others carefully begged Xialuo to allow them to exchange more points. It really makes capitalists cry when they see it. In addition to the above 2 points, there is actually the third most important reason why Xialuo considered exchanging more ammunition for people at several bases. Chapter 375. From now on, 1 point will be exchanged for a bullet. The third reason is actually that although Xialuo and the others have found almost all the meteorites in these cities, Xialuo and the others will not be able to exchange any more meteorites with Xialuo in the future. Even Xialuo's suggestion of exchanging more bullets so that they would have the strength to search for meteorites further away is actually not that realistic, because it is difficult for them to go too far. But Xialuo thought of something they could do, that is, if Xialuo exchanged it for them for more ammunition, when those monsters appeared tomorrow, Xialuo and the others could use their guns to kill the monsters that wanted to attack their base, and there is a chance of getting crystals in the heads of those monsters. Just like in those zombie novels, some zombies have crystals in their heads, it's just that the probability of producing crystals from the monster's head is not high. And a lot of killing is required, compared with easily obtaining a large number of crystals from any meteorite. Obtaining crystals by killing monsters is much more troublesome and difficult, but there is no other way. There are only so many meteorites, and all the superpowers in the future will have to rely on killing monsters to level up. Originally, after Xialuo used up Xialuo and the others this time, He had no intention of hiring them again. From now on, Li Xiaoluo will naturally leave it to the women of Taoyuan leader to kill monsters and obtain crystals. After all, the current Taoyuan leader is full of talents, including more than a dozen people with superpowers even if Shen Miao and the other superpowers are not dispatched. The female soldiers of Taoyuan leader alone are still a very powerful army as long as they are given enough firepower. From now on, let them go out to kill monsters for him, while Li Xiaoluo lies down and counts the money. Just crystals will do. But now, since Zhao Weiguo and the others want to exchange for more ammunition, Li Xiaoluo might as well find a way out for them. In the future, Li Xiaoluo will exchange some ammunition for them, and then they will kill those monsters. After they find the crystals in the heads of those monsters, they can go to Li Xiaoluo to exchange for food or bullets. Anyway, Li Xiaoluo just gave them more bullets. As for whether they dare to fight those monsters, or whether they can kill them and get the crystals in their heads, that's Zhao Weiguo's own business. Li Xiaoluo doesn't care too much. Li Xiaoluo treats it as an investment. Anyway, there are several bases. As long as someone from any base can kill monsters and dig up crystals, then Li Xiaoluo will make a lot of money. After all, the price paid, bullets, is too insignificant for Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo even decided that he would lower the price of bullets for people from Zhao Weiguo and several other bases. That's right, Li Xiaoluo is not raising prices, but actively lowering them. Li Xiaoluo looked at Zhao Weiguo and nodded. You want to redeem more bullets? That's no problem. And before, you could exchange 20 points for 1 bullet, but now I'll give you 1 point to exchange for 1 bullet. Mr. Li, you mean, 1 point can be exchanged for 1 bullet? Zhao Weiguo looked at Li Xiaoluo in disbelief, as if he couldn't believe his ears. This, reduced the price by 20 times at once. It's not that harsh to break a bone. Originally, Li Xiaoluo had a monopoly business, so whatever price Li Xiaoluo said was the price. Monopoly industries have always been the most profitable. Zhao Weiguo and the others never thought about bargaining, because they also knew that they were not qualified to bargain. Even Li Xiaoluo had previously restricted them from exchanging a large number of bullets, so when Zhao Weiguo and they wanted to come, as long as Li Xiaoluo could allow them to exchange a few more bullets, they would actually be satisfied. This time, Zhao Weiguo and the others received a total of 3,600 points. If Li Xiaoluo allowed them to exchange for more bullets, Zhao Weiguo and the others planned to take out 1,000 points and exchange them for 50 bullets. 50 bullets, if used to deal with the bad guys outside, are actually barely enough for them. But neither Zhao Weiguo nor the people at Base 2 expected that Li Xiaoluo not only allowed them to exchange more bullets, but also took the initiative to lower the price, and it dropped so hard, it is directly reduced by 20 times. The 1,000 points that Zhao Weiguo and the others originally planned to spend can now directly purchase 1,000 bullets. That's 1,000 bullets. That's why Zhao Weiguo couldn't believe what he heard. Li Xiaoluo nodded affirmatively. That's right, from now on, 1 point can be exchanged for 1 bullet, and there is no limit on the quantity. As long as you have points, I will exchange as many bullets for you as you want. There must be no more restrictions, because Li Xiaoluo knows that it will not be easy for Zhao Weiguo and the others to earn points in the future, and if Zhao Weiguo and the others have the ability to get a large amount of crystals to exchange for points, Li Xiaoluo would be eager to do so. Anyway, Li Xiaoluo is making a lot of money. Thank you, Mr. Li. Zhao Weiguo excitedly thanked Li Xiaoluo, but Zhao Weiguo didn't know that even if Li Xiaoluo lowered the exchange price by 20 times, he still made hundreds of times the profit with tears in his eyes. Then, after Zhao Weiguo discussed with the people at base number 2, they began to use the 3,600 points to exchange for things with Li Xiaoluo, because for his own convenience, Li Xiaoluo stipulated that the points earned by Zhao Weiguo and others must be spent all at once. Li Xiaoluo does not provide saving services here. In fact, after the end of the world, Li Xiaoluo was able to exchange supplies for them according to his words. Zhao Weiguo and the others were very satisfied and had no objection at all. Zhao Weiguo and the others decided to spend 1,000 points on bullets with 3,600 points this time, then spend 1,000 points on medicines, and the last 1,600 points on food. Since Li Xiaoluo has an employment relationship with them, he will naturally not interfere with how they spend their money. After they decided on the materials to exchange, Li Xiaoluo took out all the materials they exchanged with a thought. At this point, the transaction with base number 2 is complete. As for whether they can trade with themselves in the future, it depends on the ability of the people in this second base. The monsters in the future are not like meteorites. There are only so many meteorites and they can be found in a few days, but the monsters in the future can be said to be endless. As long as they have the ability, they can keep killing monsters to obtain crystals, and then trade with Xialuo. But if they don't have the ability, then they can only wait to die slowly. After the transaction, Xialuo was planning to leave base number 2, but looking at Xialuo, Xialuo suddenly remembered something. Xialuo said to Xialuo, I will contact your wife now. If you want her to come back, then she can be brought back from Taoyuan. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.